Monday moment or Monday memory, something like that, where we kind of celebrate some sort of the event that happened with the Raptors in the past or something that happened recently. It's a Monday moment, Monday memory. And we're going 6 years back for today's Monday memory to the championship run in 2019. On May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, the first May the 5th in 2019, we were playing the Sixers still. We were in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And on this day, 6 years ago, we had game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Philadelphia at Wells Fargo Arena. And the Sixers, just like the Orlando Magic in the first round against the Raptors, had the lead in the series. This happened to the Raptors all 3 series going in the playoffs, the championship year. We were down at the beginning of the series. In the Orlando series, we lost the first game. We're down 1-0, but then won the next 4. With Philadelphia, we won the first game of the series, but then we proceeded to lose the second game in Toronto. And then the first game in Philadelphia, game 3, we lost also. So the Raptors were down 2-1 at this point, and it was looking kind of bad, honestly. It was a real roller coaster, the 2019 championship year. We got to think about when we played Milwaukee, we lost the first 2 games to them and had to go to Milwaukee. We had to come back and beat them at our place because Milwaukee was the only team in the league that had a better record than us. And we had to play against them with them having home court. But this was a very pivotal game that gets forgotten. The one that happened on May the 15th, 2019. May the 5th, 2019, sorry. It gets forgotten because of the Kawhi shot in Game 7. Game 7 Kawhi shot is the one everybody remembers, and it's just so iconic, and it really was important and really big deal. But in this game was absolutely as essential and important for the Raptors to win their championship also, because they needed to even the series up and come back to Toronto 2-2 in Game 5 for the Raptors to play there. And yeah, it was a really gutsy performance. In some ways, it was completely Kawhi carrying us. In this game, Kawhi Leonard scored 39 points against the Sixers on this date 6 years ago today. And in this game, he hit like 9 threes. And the thing is, watching the highlights of this game back yesterday made me remember just how unstoppable he was. Because this is the thing, the 3-point shots that Kawhi made in this game 6 years ago today were like guarded, were very much people were in his face and stuff like that. There was even a shot that Danny Green made in the corner that was absolutely contested, difficult, boxed in corner 3 over JJ Redick that was absolutely fantastic. It was a weird game because we didn't get a whole team effort. Like, not everybody on the team stepped up and played well. In fact, Freddie had a goose egg. He didn't do anything for them off the bench. And Pascal really struggled in this game and did not score as much as he normally did. The people that scored the most were as I said, Kawhi got 39 and absolutely carried the team. And then also Marc Gasol, the second leading scorer, was 16 points. He had to do a little bit more of the duties that he was used to doing in Memphis that Nick Nurse didn't ask him to do as much once he came to Toronto and won a championship with us in 2019. In fact, Mark talked about this on the podcast with Zach Randolph and Tony Allen recently, that, he didn't totally like the style of play that the Raptors asked him to play. It's not his normal kind of thing to go on the outside and be the hub at the top of the key. He would rather be in the post and playing as a power center, power forward kind of stuff in the post. But Nick Nurse explained it to him as far as like, Mark, this is going to be really good for you. Trust me. We're going to draw you out of the paint. And by doing that, Embiid will not be able to be down near the basket. And you will be able to run our offense, and you'll be able to show off a lot of your gifts and abilities for passing and setting picks and reading the floor on the offense to direct the plays for the Toronto Raptors. And Mark, he said in the podcast, he said, I would not normally make that switch away from the defensive and the offensive pivot in the post and all the work that I put in a decade of work at Memphis Grizzlies, unless it made sense to me. And it made sense to him Nick Nurse asking him to come out of the post and play at the top of the key and run the offense at the top. Mark did not totally feel comfortable bombing threes either. I mean, he shot threes a lot in Memphis, but he was shooting more threes than he was shooting close shots for the Raptors for a bit there. So it's interesting. Toronto Raptors Marc Gasol is very different than Memphis Grizzlies Marc Gasol. And it's partly because Nick asked him to go outside and habitate outside of the lane. And of course, we know Mark did an amazing job on Joel in the series. He did an amazing job to him right around this whole entire years. There were a lot of goose eggs where Marc Gasol completely stopped Joel Embiid and did not let him do anything he wanted to do. So, yeah, it's a very interesting game. On the other side, Jimmy Butler was Himmy Butler. He was absolutely ripping up the Raptors from the other side, getting 29 points and 11 rebounds on 9 of 18 shooting. He was him. And JJ Redick even was killing us in this game too. 19 points, 4 of 7 3-point shooting, 6 of 9 from the field. The coach of the Lakers, the current coach of the Lakers, stepping up and being a badass there. Tobias Harris was 16 points in this game. He didn't have an efficient game, though, 7 of 23. And then even Ben Simmons got double digits in this game. It's kind of funny because you fast forward to now, the Kawhi Leonard and Ben Simmons teammates on the Clippers this year. And, well, 6 years ago today, they were battling each other in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And Kawhi was dominating Ben Simmons and the Sixers and winning on their home court in front of their fans, much to their dismay. And that's awesome. Yeah, as I said, Leonard, 13 for 20 from the field. He got 39 points in 43 minutes. He had 14 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 7 turnovers, so he did turn over the ball a lot. 5 of 7 from 3, 8 of 12 from free throws. Yeah, Kawhi was just clutch. This was a very, very important playoff game for Kawhi, and he showed up big time to carry the Raptors to a 5-point victory over the Philadelphia 76ers on May the 5th, 2019, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Yeah, this was a very pivotal key game. In fact, this was a fun game partly because they wore my favorite jerseys of all time for the Raptors, the earned, not given, red jerseys with the white chevron. Of course, to me, I associate our championship with those jerseys. And that's part of the reason why I say that's the greatest Raptor jersey ever in the history of the Raptors, is that red and white chevron jersey. And this was one of the games in the playoffs where they wore those jerseys. And they were, you know what, their record with those jerseys on was really good too, guys, just so you all know. I think almost every game when they wore that very Canadian patriotic looking jersey, they won. I think they pretty much won every single game they wore that jersey. So, yeah, Kyle Lowry did pretty good. He had 14 points, 6 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6. Steady. Kyle was very steady, 7 assists and 6 rebounds. And Danny Green, 11 points. Did not shoot overall well, but he got to the line a lot, got 8 of 8 at the free throw line to get the 11 points. And as I said, Siakam, 2 for 10, missed all 4 of his threes and only got 9 points. Freddie, a goose egg off the bench in 7 minutes. And Norman Powell, a goose egg, also off the bench. Serge Ibaka had 12 points off the bench, and he had all of the points for the Raptors off the bench. We only had 12 bench points in this game, and it was all from Serge. So it really shows you just how tight this was. You know, this game was back and forth. You know, within the last 5 minutes, Philly was up. So Kawhi did have to go clutch at the end of the game and make some really key plays to take the win home to overpower the Sixers in this game. And of course, I say this team for the Sixers that year was the best Sixers team that they've had in the last 20 years. I'm not going to lie. I'm serious. JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Yeah, and this is before Maxey showed up. This team was better then, I believe. That year, the Sixers were the height of their powers as far as things. And you saw what happened to them. Shot, Game 7, Kawhi Leonard. That's right. So, yeah, we're reminiscing today about Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, May the 5th, 2019, 6 years ago today. Kawhi Leonard carries the Raptors to a Game 4 victory to even the series, going back to Toronto for Game 5 with 39 points. And just a stellar shooting performance, 13 to 20 from the field. You guys remember that game? Do you remember that game? The Kawhi Leonard and carrying in Philadelphia? You know, we did really good in that playoff season on the road. We won all our games in Golden State. We won games in Milwaukee like crazy in the Eastern Conference Finals. And we won in Philadelphia on their home court. We won in Orlando, too, when we went down and played the Magic in the first round. So the Raptors were real road warriors in their 2019 championship run, winning on every single court they went to when in that run. So you guys have any memories of this game in particular? As I said, this game gets overshadowed by the Kawhi shot in Game 7. But Game 4 victory for the Raptors was very, very, very key in this one. Think about it. It was a narrow margin, 5-point victory. And if the Sixers had won that game, they would have gone up 3-1. And it would have been very difficult for the Raptors to come back from a 3-1 deficit. So this was such a key integral win in the playoff run for the Raptors in 2019. I'm wearing my Champions hat. I got a Champions shirt on. That's right, because we're celebrating in some ways the excellence and greatness of Kawhi Leonard. It's sad what happened on Saturday. In some ways, that's James Harden's fault. In some ways, it's just these guys are just getting old and they just can't do it like they used to. It's too bad, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. All right, let's check in with the chat, see what you guys are saying. We got all the regular segments on the show, the Instagram stories, the Raptors Reddit reactions, and the straight goods on Canadian goods coming up too. Yeah, Trevor J saying every move you make doesn't have to be announced. Sometimes it's okay to move in silence. Don't give your enemies an opportunity to plot a downfall for your every move. Be humble, work, and build the foundation in private and shock the world with success. Yeah, I totally agree with this sentiment and strategy because I've gotten burned by it many, many times. In some ways, because of my autism, I have a hard time not being very open about what I'm doing. I wish I could be more secret. I wish I wasn't so a blathermouth about my damn life. In some ways, other people know more about me than the average person because of my channel. And I'm so open and honest about this. And in some ways, that's hurt me. That's burned me. People have tried to hurt me because of things they found out about me from this channel. And in some ways, I need to be a little bit more private about my life, honestly. That's what I've found over the years of doing this channel is that, man, you're too much of an open book. And in some ways, that doesn't serve you, Lex, because there are people that will take advantage of that and hurt you for it. So I here's Trevor on this. This is a word of wisdom that I work on all the time. But it's a weird thing because I got to balance my true authentic self with that. And part of me is being an open book and just being like, not, if there was some sort of secret that I could make a lot of money off of, but if I told a lot of people it would help people, I would rather tell a lot of people and help people than keep it for myself and just make a whole bunch of money off of it. I'm just that kind of person. I'm a very giving person. And in some ways I don't, I'm my own worst enemy in those kind of respects, in those kind of ways. Thank you, Trevor, for your words of wisdom. It's totally true. If you can move in silence and do your plans behind the scenes, it's probably better because people will try and screw you up. Trevor's saying foundation. Okay, yeah, I read that. Trevor's saying Pacers and Pascal take game 1 and home court advantage from the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. This was a shock to me. I'm very happy about this. This game was in doubt right up until the end. And the Cavs, the way they played this year, are so dangerous because they've had a lot of games this year where they were losing most of the game. And they came back and just executed at the end of the game and won the game at the end. And I thought that was what was going to happen last night. I thought that the Pacers did a fantastic job the whole entire game. They're playing ultra good defense, way better defense than they normally do. And I thought, because I saw the score in the last quarter, and I was like, man, the Cavs are starting to come up to strike to try and take this game back and win it in the end. But it didn't happen. It did not happen. Indiana and Pascal held on to the lead and won the game 1 in this series. And this is fantastic. This is an absolutely fantastic outcome for this first game of this series because they're going to need to do stuff like this. Now they have a chance because they stole home court. They've proven they can beat Cleveland on their home court. And this is all really good for mentality. It's all really good for, yes, we can kind of mentality. And I'm proud of Siakam and those guys for doing it. A lot of it was Neesmith and Nembhard. Those guys were really, really good with the threes. And Andrew Nembhard, we're proud of you, man. I'm so proud of Andrew Nembhard. I can't wait to see him play more for Team Canada. And I just know that this kid's special. He's going to continue to excel and grow and get better and better and better. And honestly, I like Nebhard in the long run more than Tyrese Halliburton. I'm gonna say that right now. I feel like he's a better quality player. He's not as goofy as Halliburton is in certain ways, and in some ways, I see Nebhard as being more important and possibly the more important franchise starting point guard for the Pacers as things develop over the years. And Neesmith was a great role player last night for them. He's done this for a couple years for the Pacers. Just a really good underlying secondary kind of offensive player that's really steady and consistent. I mean, Aaron Neesmith's not a flashy player, but he really helps the Pacers. He's a very important player to that team. Yeah, good job, Indiana. Proud of you, Siakam. Proud of you, Rick Carlisle. You guys did a fantastic job. Now keep going, man. Seriously, because if you guys put the Cavs out, that's incredible. Because the Cavs had their greatest season ever as a franchise this year, and they really were the best team in the East. And if you guys put them out, holy cow. Some people are saying the Pacers deserve more respect because people are forgetting they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and they've been very good. Didn't they just win like the tournament or something? No, they didn't win the tournament. They got to the finals of the in-season tournament last year and lost. And this year, Milwaukee won it. That's right. They played the Lakers in the first one and lost in the finals. But the Pacers have had a lot of success in the last 2 years. So this is not a surprise to me. If Rick Carlisle is building his program, well, this is a logical step to be taken with it right here. Golden State Warriors championship experience overcame the Rockets. Yeah, I was just reading up on this a little bit. Apparently, Jimmy Butler had a meeting with the Warriors before the game 7 yesterday and really, really inspired them. Really inspired them. Went off. In some ways, the Jimmy Butler effect off the court was a huge factor in this. In some ways, they're saying that he activated Buddy Hield. He got Buddy Hield to wake up and start contributing in a big way, and he really did. Buddy Hield was carrying them. Steph Curry was horrible in the beginning of this game. He was like 0 for 8 or something like that from the start, but Buddy Hield was carrying for them and getting them somewhere like this. The other thing is that they played way better defense on Fred, is what they're saying. Steve Kerr giving a lot of credit to Fred VanVleet after this series is over yesterday after game 7, saying Fred absolutely carried the Rockets for 3 games. And then we focused on him in game 7 on purpose to try and win. And that was part of the key for us to win, was we had to shut down Fred VanVleet. So, man, it's tough. This is the thing. In this one, you look at it and you say, well, the Warriors have a championship pedigree and some players that have done it all in this league. And the Rockets, they have a couple of players that are vets, and Freddie got to the end and got the championship before. But most of this team is very young, and also they're on their way learning up. And the other thing is, much like the Detroit Pistons, the Houston Rockets were way at the bottom of the standings in the NBA just a couple years ago. And, well, in some ways, the climb to get to the top isn't just a sprint right up to the top, Houston Rockets and Detroit Pistons. You've got to take the baby steps of failure in the playoffs. And, well, you guys got further. You got a game 7 against the Warriors in the first round this time. That's better than last year, I believe, than what you guys did in the playoffs last year, Houston. So feel happy about that. And Detroit, you weren't even in the playoffs last year. You were the worst team in the league. So, there's there's a little bit of hitting your ceiling as far as your ability and aptitude with your young core and learning in a rebuild that's happening here. And teams that are more savvy and veteran and know more of the ropes, like Golden State, like Denver, are getting through to the next round. And that's it right there. That's it right there. Trevor's saying, remember when Norman said his current Clippers team is deeper than the 2019 championship team? He said that this year, right? Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why Norman every once in a while wants to insult the accomplishment that he made. Like, seriously, Norm, why do you do this crap? Seriously. This isn't true. First of all, we'll start with the best player on your team, who was the best player on the team then, and it's Kawhi Leonard. Norman, Kawhi is not better this year than he was in 2019. He wasn't. Seriously. In some ways, I would make the argument that the apex, absolute height, best year of Kawhi Leonard's career was in Toronto. That Kawhi hit the peak of his whole entire career in Toronto in the 1 year that he played here. So just by that, Norman Powell, you were wrong, because it's the same player. And we can take Kawhi from this year and compare him to Kawhi from our year, and he's not the better player in this year with the Clippers. He's the better player when he played for us in that season. So right there, you're done. Maybe you were better now, than you were on the championship team for the Raptors. And maybe that self-centered view and perspective makes you think that, oh, this Clippers team is better because I'm better and I'm more a focal point and I'm not a bench guy and I'm like the guy who should have been an all-star this year. I don't know. Either way, Norman, stop dissing the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship on the down low in weird ways. Like, seriously, bro. I've heard you say two different statements now that about the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship that don't serve you, bro. Just shut up. It's like your mom said, man. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And this is a dumb comparison. And as Trevor is pointing out by bringing it up, is you look like an idiot because obviously that team was not better than the Toronto Raptors in 2019 because they won the championship and y'all got bounced in the first round. So don't even give me that, Norman, man. In some ways, because you're a champion and because I know your heart and your intentions are true in the right places, I give you a little more leeway on this kind of stuff. But if you were any old jabroni like Raptors alumni like Rudy Gay or Thad Young, I would be pissed at you and more for making these kind of statements. But in some ways, I just got to be like, oh, Norman, you're just being silly. That's so silly. So dumb. What a dumb statement, Norman. You should know that that's not true. Maybe for yourself, it's true. Maybe just personally yourself, you are way better than you were in the 2019 run. You were pretty damn good in the 2019 run. But now you've excelled and grown as a player. 6 years later, you're a more important central player for the Clippers. So maybe you should just say you were better. But not the teams, man. That just don't make no sense. Trevor's saying the Knicks and the Celtics tonight won all 4 regular season games. The Celtics beat the Knicks every single time they played the Knicks this year. And that doesn't bode well for Tom Thibodeau and entering the series tonight in game 1 tonight in Boston. I got the referees, guys. Let's go look at them real quick. The refs for the New York at Boston game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Mark Davis is the crew chief. He actually favors the Knicks, guys. He is favoring the Knicks. And then you've got Ben Taylor and JB DeRosa as the referee and umpire, and they both favor the Celtics. So Mark Davis, crew chief, favors the Knicks. And Ben Taylor, he doesn't like the Knicks at all. The Knicks are very, very, very far down on his list. JB DeRosa favoring the Celtics also. The other game tonight is game 1 of the Western Conference playoff between the Denver Nuggets at Oklahoma City Thunder. Should be pretty interesting. John Goble is the crew chief. He favors the Denver Nuggets. Josh Tiven is the referee. He favors the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Star Wars lover Carl Lane, on the day after May the 4th be with you, is going to be the umpire. And he favors the Thunder also. So we've got Goble and for the Nuggets, and then Tiven and Lane for the Thunder. And so, not bad. And in the replay center is second-generation referee Brian Forte, watching from afar. So there's your ref report for the 2 playoff games tonight. Pretty even ref crews. The crew chiefs are for one team, and then the other 2 refs are for the other team. So we'll have to see how it goes down. If I'm guessing for tonight, Celtics will win and Thunder will win. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably likely for tonight. Trevor saying that also Steve Kerr. Hang on. Let's see. Steve Kerr. Why did it jump? It jumped way down, man. Steve Kerr, the first coach to win a Game 7 on the road in NBA history, and Buddy is the first player with 9 threes in a Game 7 in NBA history. That doesn't seem right. That you're saying that Steve Kerr is the first coach to win a Game 7 on the road? I don't know if that's totally true, Trevor. That seems like a fishy claim right there. Let me go look at the box score and see if that's actually true, because I don't believe that's true, man. Is that true? Steve Kerr's the first coach to win a Game 7 on the road? That doesn't seem likely. That's kind of weird, man. Yeah, I don't know if that's true, Trevor. That doesn't sound right to me. Maybe the 9 3-pointers by Buddy Hield is true, though. I could see that being true. 9 of 11 from 3, 33 points for Buddy Hield. Absolutely carried them. Steph Curry woke up late and got 22 by the end of the game, but he was horrible in the first half. Jimmy Butler with 20 points in this game. Draymond was 16. So, yeah, and they only got 3 points off the bench from Kevon Looney. pretty much everybody scoring all the points was in the starters. The starters had to carry them. Fred got contained, 6 of 13 shooting. He did get 17 by the end. Sengun, 21 points, 14 rebounds, and Amin Thompson, 24 points. And those guys were the only guys doing anything. Everybody else was single digits and just not enough in the gas tank to try and catch up with them. Of course, both the coaches in this series sporting the Popovich shirt ahead of the game. Ime Udoka and Steve Kerr, both disciples of the coaching tree of Greg Popovich, showing homage to the great Pop before the games this weekend, wearing the Popovich shirt. You know, our coach is from the Popovich coaching tree also, guys. People, they didn't, in the graphics they're putting out right now where they're trying to show all the coaches that came from Greg Popovich, Darko needs to be on that graphic, because his first coaching job in the NBA was with Popovich on the Spurs. And he was, you know what his job was? He was European scout. Like, he wasn't actually in North America. Darko got hired by Popovich in the early 2000s to scout in Europe for the Spurs. And then he came over eventually and actually did sit on the bench with him as an assistant coach for a while too. But people are going to forget that, and people aren't going to put that on blast. But we should, as Raptors fans, remember Coach Rajakovic is from the Popovich tree also. And some people will conveniently forget that. Monty Williams, Steve Kerr, Mike Budenholzer, Ime Udoka, Becky Hammond. They'll go through a whole list of all these coaches that had something to do with Popovich, and they'll forget and overlook Darko's. But Darko's in that coaching tree. And everybody in Raptors land needs to understand that he comes from the Popovich coaching tree, just so y'all know. Let's see what else y'all are saying in the chat here. G is saying, congratulations to Pascal and the Pacers. Halliburton is stepping up and playing with confidence. Clark with a 36-foot shot made. Curry and his chip pedigree prevailed. Yeah, Clark. Who's Clark? I'm trying to think of who's Clark. Who's Clark? I don't know anybody named Clark. Caitlin Clark. You're talking about Caitlin Clark? Indiana? I don't know. I'm getting sports confused. WNBA season's coming quick. We had our draft yesterday, and anybody who wasn't there to draft your team, hopefully you've seen your team and you like it. We could do a little bit of the thing where we could go over a team. You know what? Let me do something real quick. This will be a nice little new segment for a second. I'm going to take a team from the league, and I'm going to get Trevor J to look at it, and he's going to analyze it. This is going to be Commissioner J analyzes your WNBA team. Maybe, and we're going to do my team first. And I want G to also interject also, because you guys were both such WA experts. I'm going to paste it in, and y'all tell me what you think about this team that we're putting in here. Oh, is it not going to go in because it needs to be too, why is it doubling up everything? That sucks. No wonder it's taking so long to come in. All right, let me try and do it this way then. Take that out. Cut. Post this part and then post the second part. And yeah, Trevor, you look at that list and tell me the players you like and the players you don't like. That's what I want here. All right, let's see if that works now. No, it didn't. Hang on. Why is that not going in? Cut. Paste. Sorry, I'm going to get this figured out at some point. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Got that done. Took me a second. It's stupid. It's two parts. That's my whole team. Trevor, tell me the players you like and tell me the players you're like, why'd you get this person? That'd be great. That'd be very helpful. All right, let's keep going. Smooth is saying Rockets have a bright future. Don't panic. Keep Fred. Yeah, you're definitely on the right direction. You know, I would say this because of the game last night. Well, what I've been saying is true about Jalen Green. That guy is just not a winning type of player to have on your team. He's going to be high usage and he's going to flake on you. In fact, Karthika Keeks of TSN Stats on her Blue Skies is saying the stat about Jalen Green where he had one game in this series against Golden State Warriors where he absolutely had perfect stats. Like he had a 38-point game on 70% total shooting. But at the end of this postseason, at the end of this series against Golden State, he ended up averaging 13 points a game and he shot 48 in total shooting. And total shooting is averaging in the free throws. So it's like he shot 48% on average from 3, field goal, and free throws. So that's a big drop. So he had like one really good game where he got 38 points and shot 70% total shooting. And then he just was horrible in all the rest of the games to drag down his thing. So I'm just saying, Jalen Green is not a winning type player. And you can identify these kind of players in the draft ahead of time and just avoid them. I'm telling you right now, Bobby and Masai understand this because they've avoided a lot of these kind of players over their tenure of running the Raptors. These players are all over the place. They're players like Bradley Beal. They're players like John Wall. They're players like Allen Iverson. They're great scorers, but they need the ball all the time, and they take away from their teammates. And if they are not hitting their shot, you're sunk. And Jalen Green is one of these guys. You know, he's an athletic player. He's a fun guy to watch dunk, but he doesn't win basketball, y'all. He just doesn't. And I would say this, Rockets, if you really want to make your team better, you need to get a trade for him for somebody who is a winning player, because that'll help shore up your team way better right away. Right away, you would be addition by subtraction, and you would be adding a talent that probably help y'all towards winning better. So I'd say that's my advisement to y'all. Most of y'all's team's good, but you need to get rid of Jalen Green. That's what I would say to them right there. KD is hinting he wants to join the Rockets. Kevin Durant wants to join the Rockets. Kevin Durant wants to join anybody all the time. He's always saying somebody. It's never where he is presently, though. I don't want to be in Brooklyn. I don't want to be in Phoenix. I want to join the Rockets. I want to join the Spurs. I want to join the Knicks. Yeah, whatever, man. KD is done, man. Once again, I will say this. Any team that goes against Kevin Durant at this point, you're making a very bad mistake. Spurs fans have been debating this for a while. Spurs fans are weird right now. Y'all got a lot already on your plate, and you honestly don't need to go get Giannis or Durant. You got Wembanyama. You got De'Aaron Fox. You need to let them kind of percolate and get together as a core. If you guys traded stuff to get Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kevin Durant, you'd be gutting your team in a certain ways that probably wouldn't help your team. You'd be getting into the 3-star super team model, which means you have no bench and you have no depth, and you probably will suck anyways. So I would caution Spurs fans, forget about a big name. You guys keep putting graphics out with Giannis in a Spurs jersey, and I'm just like, y'all are idiots. And some of the Spurs fans are like, why are people not into giving Kevin Durant? He's one of the greatest players in the world. Because he's washed. That's why. It's not that he's washed physically. He can still play to a degree, but he isn't exactly like young Kevin. He's not all out. He's very slow and methodical. He doesn't play all out like he used to. He will play smart, and he can be a very good defensive player at times when he wants to, but that's not very often. And the thing is that he will get in the way of winning. So I'm going to say this right now. And Spurs fans will be like, why? We want to get Kevin. He'll be great next to Victor and De'Aaron Fox. It'd be awesome. We'll totally win then. I'm like, no, we won't. Because Kevin Durant is not somebody you can trust in the playoffs to step up and play for you at the high level that you need to for what you're going to pay him. You might as well put him in the same category as James Harden. And we just saw how James Harden just disappeared on the Clippers against the Nuggets this weekend. Well, Kevin Durant's more likely to do that at this point in his career than show up and save the day and be the hero. So Spurs fans, I would say to you once again, and Raptors fans who are into Antetokounmpo, so that's these guys in some ways are washed. Giannis has more in the tank, and he has more promise and possibility, but Kevin Durant is washed. Stay the hell away from him. That's what I'm saying right now. Kevin, wherever you choose to go, well, you're going to hold up that franchise from getting anywhere for the last couple of years of your career. That's what I would say to any franchise looking at Kevin Durant right now. Just realize you're going to put on hold development and getting somewhere with your team for the years that you have around him. You may think he's going to do this and that for you, but he's not. It's been proven for the last 5 years, really, that this dude is done. His Brooklyn Nets part of his career was an absolute disaster and a waste. And the Suns has been an utter failure with his career there, too. So, I mean, what's the track record there? You know, he needed Steph and Draymond to win championships. And, you know, ever since then, he ain't done jack shit.
That's what I would say right there. Trevor's saying Pascal got his first ever playoff win against Cleveland after 2 series, 6 games in 2017 and 2018. That's not true. That's not fucking true. Trevor, you keep putting stats out that are not true. Pascal beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals with Bismack Biyombo and all those guys. We beat LeBronto a couple times. We were actually one of the few Eastern Conference teams that beat Cleveland, Trevor. So, man, you got to get your fact checking, man, because this is not true. This is not true. I can tell you for a fact that we beat them, man. I can tell you for a fact we beat them with Siakam on our team. So if that's true and I'm wrong, I mean, 2016. So you're saying he wasn't on the 2016 team when we had Bismack? Because we beat Cleveland that year. We did. We beat Cleveland. I was at a game where we beat Cleveland in the playoffs. So unless Siakam wasn't on the team yet, and that's why you're saying that that's that way, okay, maybe that's where it's true. But, man, we beat Cleveland in the playoffs, bro. Don't act like we didn't, because we did. We beat them twice, actually, in the playoffs. And out of all those years of LeBron dominating the Eastern Conference, we were one of the few Eastern Conference teams that could say we beat them. Indiana got swept by them left and right. Milwaukee got beat by their ass. Everybody got beat by them. And we at least got a couple wins. In fact, DeMar and Kyle talk about it. It's like, man, everybody's getting beat by him. But at least we got a couple of playoff wins against them. And we did. We got a couple of them. I think that may be it. It's that Siakam showed up the year after we beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals a game or two. I think we won 2 games in that series. I know we won the one I went to, though, because I went to a LeBronto era game and saw us beat LeBron James on Toronto Raptors court. And that was the game where they tried to do a sneak play by throwing the inbound ball to LeBron James on the baseline. He tried to attack the rim from the side, and Bismack Biyombo stopped him and blocked the hell out of him and stopped him. That was awesome. That game was really good. G saying Amen Thompson is going to be amazing. He didn't get too high or low and kept his composure at only 22. Yeah, these guys, I'll respect and say, yeah, you're right. These guys are athletic, but once again, I'm worried about them being careless and reckless and hurting somebody. That's the only thing only the derisive thing I have to say about the Thompson twins is that these guys are such a combination of speed and strength that they're dangerous because they go all out and they're hitting people in dangerous ways where they're not protecting other players on the court. And in fact, they may even hurt a teammate. They're those kind of guys that they may even hurt a teammate that way, man. I could see that. Yeah. Let's see. The Thompsons are fantastic. Both of them. Reggie's saying, please, Houston, don't blow what you have for him. Steph is the Rockets' kryptonite, man. They can't beat him. Yeah, but it wasn't even Steph. It was Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield beat them last night. Yeah, Buddy Hield stepping up. He'd been pretty dormant this whole playoffs. In some ways, Buddy Hield had been forgotten about for most of the year. Steve Kerr talking about how, if we think about where we were at the trade deadline and how much of a mess we were and us winning this series, yeah, in some ways, this is the coasting of the Warriors. The Warriors have a shitty regular season. They have all kinds of tumultuous turmoil. They're even like looking like a play-in team or maybe not even making the playoffs. I mean, when we played the Warriors a couple times this year, they looked horrible, absolutely horrible. I had no faith in them in the postseason. But I guess I shouldn't doubt the experience and pedigree and acumen of the Golden State Warriors and their history and what they've done in their careers on that team. And that's what you have to respect right there. And in some ways, the Rockets are still too young. They got to do a couple of lessons, and they will figure it out over time. That's right. Stargate saying, yes, I agree with what most are saying here. Houston should keep it together and run it back. Don't make any rash moves. Same for Detroit. Both should just run it back. Yeah, I mean, it's silly because they've already done the bottoming out of a rebuild, and they're on their ups now. It's like you don't destroy a rebuild after you've got some success after the early first building up. That doesn't make any sense. You tinker with it. You take a player like Jalen Green out, and you add a player that's more helpful to winning, and that'll help the Rockets more. The Pistons are going to tinker with their nucleus that they already got this summer, and they may add a weapon where they felt like they had a deficiency on their team. To help bolster things, that kind of stuff. Plus, the Pistons are going to get Jaden Ivey back next year, and that should be an added boon to their talent pool and what they're doing. Getting a very important high draft pick that they've had in the last couple of years back healthy, because they didn't even have him this year, basically, because he got hurt really badly by Cole Anthony and out for the whole rest of the year. So it's that kind of stuff that'll make it look good. Stargate saying there is a chink in the armor of the Cavaliers and there's blood in the water. Ooh, Pacers need to take advantage of it. Yeah, very, very pleased and very proud of Rick Carlisle and Pascal Siakam and those guys. Seriously, Andrew Nebhart. Wow. Wow, man. Really, really proud of you, man. Seymour's saying, Lex, I got to give you credit. Jalen Green is not a winning type player. He just isn't. I mean, seriously, I don't care about dunks. I don't care about flashy shit. I don't care about YouTube highlights. I don't care about TikTok bullshit. That's all fluff. You add to winning. Do you add to winning? You know, you could be the most talented basketball player in the world and you don't know how to win. Seriously, because you don't do the little things. You don't understand team concept and how that makes you win. You know, that's the thing. Basketball is a team sport, and too many of these guys were brought up thinking about it in an individual mindset. And that is the biggest problem. That was the biggest problem with LeBron's generation altogether. Seriously, the last 20 years of basketball, the biggest problem has been too many players been conditioned in the United States, growing up in training in basketball, to have an individualistic mindset. And they don't have a team mindset like the Europeans do. And that's part of the big difference between why the rest of the world is catching up on basketball things over the United States. It's because too much skill, individual work with the young players here, and they're not learning how to play with other people correctly. And Jalen Green is an example of this. I'm going to say this right now. He is an example of this. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Despite the memories of 2019 run, Embiid's crying takes the cake. Laugh out loud. Yeah, this is actually an interesting game for Embiid because this was a game where he wasn't supposed to play possibly because he was sick. He was sick. And they said after the game when they lost, they started making excuses. And Embiid looked like he had been crying actually already in the interview after this. You can go watch the highlight. Look this up. Look up May 5th. 2019, and you'll see the post-game interview with Embiid. He looks like he's been crying, and he's saying, they didn't even know if I was going to play this morning because I had an IV infusion of plasma to help because he was sick, apparently. Like he was in really bad shape or something. They were using all kinds of stupid excuses. You know what? You were sick, motherfucker. You had gasolitis. That's what you had, motherfucker. You had gasolitis. Oh, he did. He had some gasolitis. It's like OG-itis. You know, he had some gasolitis. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, look, use all the excuses you want. It's like that's what Brett Brown was saying after the game. He was saying we weren't even sure if Joel was going to play because he was so sick. We had to give him fluids in the morning. Oh, it's so funny. So, yeah, he was a little cryy around this game, too. He's saying people's strengths are also their weaknesses. We need to take the good with the bad and be ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. He's talking about with the words of wisdom. But yeah, in some ways, it's like, it's tough. If you're an NBA player and you're crafting your build when you're young, really, you want to be more like Scotty than Jalen Green. I'm telling you right now, Scotty's a unique person in his generation because there's not many players coming up trying to be the next Magic Johnson / Jason Kidd. More of these guys are trying to be the next Kevin Durant. And that's the difference right there. And Scotty that's part of the reason why he's so valuable to our team, because he's going to make everybody better on his team no matter what into the future. And somebody like Jalen Green's not going to make his teammates better. That's part of the problem right there. You know, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to use my weaknesses to be strengths. In some ways, I want to strengthen my weaknesses to the point where they're not weaknesses anymore. How about that? How about that, G? Good to see G always. Y'all looked at my WNBA team that I listed in there. Tell me your favorite 3 players on my team, G, and then like tell me the 3 players I was like, man, maybe you should drop. I would love that. You guys' expertise, I really need it. In some ways, I need some WNBA gurus here, and G and Trevor J know their WNBA. That's right. Crazy game in the WNBA preseason yesterday as the Brazilian national team took on the Indiana Fever and got mopped on the floor. I think it was like 108-48 or something at the end of the game. It was crazy, man. They only let the Brazilian national team score like 4 points in the second quarter. They weren't even letting them bring the ball up the court at times in that game with Indiana and Brazil. Crazy. It really shows the level of talent in the WNBA is off the charts. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and them going crazy on them. Kelsey Mitchell going crazy on Brazil. Messed them up bad. It was crazy, man. Messed them up bad. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see what Fiercey's saying. Excuse me. Yesterday, Amin Thompson was more effective than Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. That segment, he was sat out due to a minor injury. He could have been a problem if he stayed. Any team could have won. Any team could have won. I don't understand that segment when he sat out during the minor injury. He could have been a problem. It could have been a problem if he had stayed. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know exactly what happened during the game. You know, Dylan Brooks doesn't have to score to be an impact player. That's the thing that's different between him and Jalen Green, is that he could be that dogged guy that's just really irritating Jimmy and Steph, and he's really helping. Of course, when Dylan is hitting his shots, we know this from Team Canada also. He's a huge, huge boon and helpful. Very, very helpful. But in some ways, Dylan could be out there and he could shoot poorly and get 8 points, but he's still a hugely impactful player to help them win. So that's the difference right there, I would say, right there between Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green and what they're doing out there. Seymour Sam being out west makes it real easy to see all games in Toronto. It was hard staying up late for West games and having school in the morning or work. Yeah, I guess that is different. It's a different feel. I know when I went out west during the regular season, like I went during my my honeymoon. I went out west to Seattle and got on a cruise ship and went up the Alaskan cruise line up the coast of BC. And it was during the playoffs. And I remember that was the year that the Spurs beat the Cavs in the finals. It was LeBron lost in the finals to Tim Duncan. So you guys can figure that's probably around what, 2009, something like that, 2008, 2009. And I kept remembering, like, on the cruise ship, the games would come on in the afternoon. And I was like, what the hell? The game's on in the afternoon. I'm like, oh yeah, you're in West Coast time, Lex. This would normally be at 8 o'clock if you were back home, but you were in a cruise ship off the coast of in the Pacific Ocean. And that's why this game is on at like 5 in the afternoon, and you could sit at the cruise ship bar and drink some fancy fruity drinks and watch Tim Duncan destroy the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. The other thing I remember about that trip was I was playing fantasy baseball, and I had to keep up my team while I was on my honeymoon. It was really hard to find the computer on the ship and kind of keep up with my baseball team. And I messed up a little bit while I was on that trip because I didn't keep up with my fantasy baseball on a daily basis correctly. It's such a chore to do fantasy MLB. Let's just put it that way. It is a real chore. It's a task, real task. Let's see. I love that, though. Don't you like that, though? Because in some ways you got afternoon basketball, then you get your regular evening basketball when the West Coast games are on, and then you're done. You're not staying up till 1 a.m. like we are over here. Because we do. We have to stay up late, especially when them Raptors on that West Coast trip, they're playing Portland and Portland. Oh, my gosh. That's a late night. That's a late night for our East Coast people. That's right. Fiercely saying Spicy P and Nemard special mention to Hallie and Neesmith. They called him a 3-and-D, which we did see. His defense is solid. They called who a 3-and-D? Who was a 3-and-D? Neesmith? I don't know. Either way, I'm appreciative of the Pacers nucleus, and they've got a pretty good team. We're gonna have to see if they can continue to beat the Cavs. There's gonna be adjustments from Kenny Atkinson. There's also, I'm wondering when Garland's gonna get healthy. You know, in some ways they're missing one of their starters, and that could make a help for the Cavs later on in the series. If Darius Garland is available finally, that may be important. Seymour saying Buddy ain't shoot like that since Oklahoma college days. You know, Buddy Hield's a weird player, man. He's won 3-point shootouts, of course. You know, in Sacramento, he had his heyday at different times. Indiana, it's weird because I always thought when he came to Indiana, he kind of no, wait, he's on Golden State now. He was on Indiana. On Indiana, he was kind of not totally playing fully out because Halliburton really they overlap each other. And they really did lean on Halliburton more. And Buddy Hield was kind of an afterthought on the Pacers when he was on Indiana. And now on the Warriors, it's weird because he kind of came in and he's kind of been the replacement for Clay in the last little while. But he got forgotten on this team and didn't really get to play a whole lot. Like there was some times during the season where Buddy Hield was getting DMPs for the Warriors and really just not doing a whole lot. But, you know, this is the time of year where, you know, if you can get Buddy Hield going, it's very helpful in the playoffs. It's very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Seymour saying good morning to Eye Candy. And Fiercely saying Fred VanVleet was still hitting threes and doing great facilitating. I would say Brooks and Green were too passive. Houston could have won this game. Yeah, in some ways, I don't know. With Dylan Brooks, I don't want him to be too aggressive, because if he's too aggressive, he's more likely to railroad the game into a bad place if he's trying to shoot too much or do too much. He really is the kind of player where he needs to let the game come to him. And if the game is not naturally coming to him, it's okay, because in some ways he's not the guy who's supposed to do this. That's the thing, Fierce. You got to understand, Dylan Brooks is not out there on the court to score. He's out there on the court to intimidate, harass, foul, talk trash, play a really, really gutsy mental game. In some ways, the scoring stuff has always just been extra on top. Sure, in some ways you want him to maybe step up and go crazy, but in some ways you don't, because he's not that kind of offensive player. And he's more likely to not necessarily come through on his shots if he's going high volume. He's never been a good shooter on high volume. He really has to. He tests the water. It's basically, he comes out, he'll play really good defense, and then he'll take one shot. And if that shot goes in, then he'll take another one. But if that first shot doesn't go in some ways he's kind of done for the night, and he's just going to focus on energy and defense. So you got to look at them as role players. And Dylan Brooks is a role player. He's a defensive role player. He's not supposed to be expected to carry offensively. If they're needing Dylan Brooks to step up and score for them to win, they're in trouble. Let's just put it that way. That's Jalen Green's job. That is Jalen Green's job. You can blame him for that, because that man is more known for offense. And he was like a 20-point scorer for the Rockets in past years. Well, that's his job. That's his job category. He should have done something about it. I wouldn't say Dylan, though. I wouldn't say Dylan. Dylan could score 8 points, and he did a good thing for the Rockets. He did a good thing. Seymour saying, I'm glad the Clippers ain't with them boys. Would not shut up about it and probably never view their chip with us. Norm in the claw. Norman has been outspoken. He's come back and talked about the championship this year. I'm not going to put them in the same category. Both of them respect that championship. Trust me. Both of them do. And I'm sure in time since, Kawhi respects it more and more and understands it with all the problems he's had since. So I think that they actually appreciate it a lot. Norman's not a champion without that championship. And in some ways, like I said, he shoots himself in the foot when he doesn't respect it correctly in some of the dumb things he says. So I don't know. Norman, in some ways, I'm going to give him a pass because I like Norm. Norm is that guy. And, he can get away with saying a little bit more because he said stuff and he's clarified himself. And he's also shown respect at other times, too. So I don't understand it. I mean, Kawhi, I appreciate that Kawhi just came back and did some interviews this year with Sportsnet for Raptors Delight. Seriously, that's amazing. In some ways, it's like Kawhi doesn't care about the Raptors year and the winning the championship with the Raptors. Yeah, he does, because he actually took the time and did some interviews reminiscing about it this year. That's what I'm saying. I'll look at Chris Bosh's level of not interacting with the Raptors franchise, and Kawhi is not at that level. He's not at the level. And the thing is, Kawhi's still playing. He doesn't have to talk about the Raptors at all. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Kawhi retires. Will Kawhi be more likely to come and show his face up here, or will he be like Bosh and just forget that he did things with Toronto for 1 year? That will be the thing that finally determines his legacy with me. Kawhi, you better show respect to the history you made for 1 year on Toronto Raptors in 2019, and we'll see when you're done. Because when you're not on a franchise and you're just a guy who's retired afterwards, well, you may never come back to Toronto, and that could very well be a possibility. But you better be speaking highly of this thing that you did up here. At least that's what I would say. That's what you need to do. At least speak highly of it if you're not coming up here and being an active alumni, saying hi to the folks up here. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, I may be in the minority here, but actually believe Jalen Green is eventually going to get it. Yes, he's very immature and childish, but unlike a player like Kuzma, I see something there with Green. It's interesting because he's best friends with Scott. And in some ways, they're kind of birds of a feather, and they probably do really study the game and like the game. But Jalen Green's just gone about his build for the way he plays just in the wrong way. He didn't build the right order. In some ways, this is kind of like what the people that are impatient with Scott to score more are not realizing. Scotty's building his game from the defense first, just like OG. OG really wanted to master being a top-level shutdown defender on the best player on the other side before he cared about making threes and scoring like 20 to 30 points. And now OG's got the lockdown defensive stuff down, and he's been working more on the offensive levels. I could see this with Scott. Now, Jalen Green went the wrong way. He did the opposite way. He's got all the offense in the world. He's trying to learn the defensive stuff later. All right, Stargate. You know what? I'm going to open my mind to the idea that Jalen Green will get it right just because you said this, but it really is going to take a lot more than what he's been doing offensively. He's got to become a better player in other aspects on the court. And it may be defensive point of attack defense in the backcourt when getting steals. It could be that he rounds out more and gets more rebounds as a guard. I don't know. There's a couple different ways he could flesh out his game to be a more winning kind of game. You believe in him? I don't know. I don't. I think that in some ways he got messed up in his early years on the Rockets because they were so unserious and really not doing things right. That set a bad tone for him in his early rookie year and his early years on that team. And he did not need to be around Josh Christopher. Let's just put it that way. That there were a couple players that were on that team with him. LaShawn Tate, I think, is one of them. Just Sean Tate or whatever. These guys were not the best nucleus of being around rookie Jalen Green for setting the tone about how serious she should be as an NBA player. That was a big part of it also. But yeah, you're making an allusion to Kyle Kuzma. That's the problem. He could go in the direction of Kyle Kuzma. Well, let's hope he's smart enough not to. In some ways, I don't care. In some ways, I don't care. Maybe I care for Scotty. That's the only reason why I care. Is because Scotty cares about the guy. That's how much I care about Jalen Green. It's only because Scotty cares about him. I care about him. I don't give a shit about him otherwise. Fiercely saying Norman needs to be reminded the internet is keeping receipts. Be careful what you say. Yeah, it's just dumb, man. It's like, it's like you don't do anything good for yourself, Norman. That's your accomplishment, part of your accomplishment. Why do you sully it by saying something so stupid? That's what I'm saying. That's so dumb. Stargate saying that makes me believe he will get it at some point. Who, Jalen Green? You think that he'll get it? He's going to figure it out. See, not get the championship, but he's going to figure it out. I don't know. We'll have to see. In some ways, it's like he's 4 years in, like Scotty. And, he's kind of setting the roots for the ways he's going to go with development from here. It's like you can't change too drastically in your NBA career unless you're really, really athletically talented and you really, really make a huge mindset change. But that's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal. We'll have to see, Stargate. Seymour saying Norm can hoop, 6-man at best. Well, he's a starter this year. And in fact, he was the most important Clipper in some ways this entire season. When most of the other guys would be hurt, Norman was carrying the Clippers. And he is a starter this year. Kareem saying, am I the only one who thinks Norman looks like a lizard with a birthmark between his eyes? I know I'm fucked up. I mean, I don't know about a lizard. That's a weird one. I mean, I've been wondering about that little thing in between Norman's eyes on his forehead. It's like somebody got hit him in the forehead and he's got a little like dent. And then a weird little like abscess or something like that. I don't know what's going on there, man. I don't know what's going on there. Stargate saying Norm's acting like a jaded lover. He doesn't need to be like this. Seriously, Norman. Just tout your accomplishment and be proud of it. Don't put it down. Seriously, Norm. You're in some ways you're insulting the hard work that your friends did with you as your teammates. Like seriously, don't say that shit around Fred. Don't say that shit around Pascal. Nah, bro. You can't tell me that your bench was better on the Clippers this year than you on the Raptors bench. Seriously, you're so wrong. Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, and you off the bench, and you're going to say your bench is better on the Clippers right now? You're an idiot, Norman Powell. That's really dumb, man. It's dumb. Very, very dumb. Seymour saying if Pacers take out Cavs, I think they can go the distance. Man, that'd be really cool. Honestly, an Indiana Pacers NBA championship would be cool to see, especially with Siakam involved. I would be totally all about that. Smith saying, I respect this journey, but he keeps doing this shit. Who are you talking about? I respect this journey. Oh, Norman. I don't know why he's doing this. Why he does this. It's stupid. Just shut up, Norm. They say shut up and play. Well, no. I mean, don't shut up on politics, but shut up on talking trash about your accomplishments. How about that? How about that? G saying, I think Green is very athletic and has talent, but his ball IQ seems low. Bad decision maker, in my opinion. If he watches a ton of tape and really studies the game and works hard on that aspect, he could be good. You know what? I'm going to use an example right now of our rookie this year, Jacoby Walter. This is a very good contrast. If you want to look at a player that does things right and a player who doesn't do things right, take Jacoby Walter and compare him to Jalen Green. I'm telling you right now. In some ways, Jacoby's not coming in all flashy and like banging down the door in his rookie year, although he did to an extent an underlying way.
because, you know, he got a game winner and he showed flashes of brilliance. But in some ways, he's laying the groundwork fundamentally to do things correctly, whether it's taking patience with pump fakes and different things that he does with the ball. He's very measured. He doesn't cause a lot of turnovers because he's very, very smart about what he's doing with the ball. You know, part of it was that this is what happened. I think Shed and Walter both said this at some point near the end of the year, that Darko yelled at them for causing turnovers too much. And they said, you guys cannot afford to cause turnovers ever again. And they both really took it to heart. And in some ways, Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter really took care of the ball a lot more for the whole bulk of the season, partly because Darko was on them, like telling them, you guys cannot turn over. Cannot turn over. Jamal, you are a point guard. You have to take care of the ball. You cannot turn the ball over. And Jacoby Walter just naturally has been instructed as a young person coming up in his life by the right way. Seriously, I can see it. You can see it in a way a player handles himself on the court. You can see it in the little things and physically how they carry themselves, or they dribble the ball, or they protect the ball, or the way that they will wait for the defender to go by before they put up the shot. They play very smart and methodically. And Jacoby Walter plays smart and methodically in the right way than Jalen Green. And we're going to see this in the next couple of years as Jacoby gets more time and more shots and more opportunities, that this dude's going to blossom. And in some ways, he may blossom in some of the offensive ways that Jalen Green does stuff right now. But he's going to come from a platform of fundamentally setting it all up right. And in some ways, that will be the difference between a winning player and a non-winning player, is that you got to set the table with the correct habits and fundamentals. And Jacoby Walter has those. And in some ways, Jalen Green's got bad fundamentals and habits already that he has to unlearn to learn the other stuff. And that's where you're in trouble. You know, that's something people don't talk about in basketball enough, is that players can learn bad habits and they get into them and they just become part. Well, this is just part of how I play. Oh, but you have a really bad hitch on your jump shot. You don't need to do that. But this is just how I've always played. But it's a bad habit. Yeah, but I'm used to it, and it's just how I play. Well, we could change that, Chris Boucher. You don't need to rotate it a weird way like that. We could just switch your jump shot a little bit, and you might shoot better. I'm saying that, you know, players learn bad habits all over the place coming up as young players. And I'm just saying that's the difference. Some players learn good habits and good fundamentals, and they avoid those bad habits. And some people get lazy and they just do the bad habits. And that's the difference right there. I hope I made sense in what I was saying just now. That I feel like they're comparable kind of players. Jalen Green and Jacoby Walter, they're similar kind of position in what they're going to be doing in their careers. But Jacoby's going to do it in the right way. Watch. He's going to do it in the right way. Because in some ways, like Scott, he's going to have a commitment to that defensive end first before the offensive end. And that's going to be a part of it right there. Right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Seymour saying Buddy Hield tied a playoff record for most threes in a game 7. 9 threes. Big time. Big time. Buddy Hield. Jamaica. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. He's Jamaica or is Bahamas? He's on one of those teams. He's on Bahamas, right? With DeAndre Ayton. I think that's right. G saying, I just looked it up. There are 39 times where the road team won the game 7. Steve Kerr, Tyronn Lue, Jason Kidd, Gene Shue, and maybe there is another record he is talking about. Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. Obviously, a road team's won a game 7 at some point. Gene Shue, you're talking about Washington Bullets in 1978, bro. Gene Shue, really? Wes Unseld? Oh my gosh. Smooth saying it's so hard to get one ring. He doesn't realize how lucky he is. Yeah, it's really hard. Ask Charles Barkley. Ask John Stockton. Ask Patrick Ewing. There's so many good players that were Hall of Famers, absolutely icons, and they never won a single damn ring. Norman, you got a ring. Respect the ring, bro. Understand the grind and respect the ring. How about that, Norman Powell? Maybe you need a second part to your little saying, understand the grind. Understand the grind and respect the ring. How about that? Respect the ring, Norman. I maybe need to be your new speech, your new little catchphrase is respect the ring, Norman. Respect the ring, bro. Respect the ring. All right, here we go. All right, guys, straight goods on Canadian goods. We don't have a Canadian good exactly, but we have something that is non-American that you guys can buy. And you know what? In the States, if you see this product in the States, you would buy it. It supports Canada, honestly, in an indirect way. It's Nutella, guys. Y'all know Nutella? Of course, Nutella.
It's actually an Italian company. Nutella is made by Ferrero, like Rocher, like the the eggs, or not Ferrero Rocher, but like the eggs you can get, the Kinder Surprise, I think, or something like that. I don't know. That's Kinder. Anyway, this is an Italian company. Nutella is a company owned in Italy, but their processing plant to make all Nutella products in the continent of North America is in Brantford, Ontario. And so technically, all of Nutella that's sold in the United States is manufactured here in Canada. So if you're in the United States and you want to support Canada in this trade boycott bullshit, you could buy Nutella and indirectly be helping Ontario employment at the plant in Brantford, Ontario. There's no plant for Nutella products in the United States. So if you're buying Nutella in this continent, it has been made in Canada and imported to you there. So yeah, Italian company original, Canadian made on this continent. So there you go. There's your straight goods on Canadian goods. Nutella is actually a good that is manufactured in Canada by an Italian company. How about that? There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. So you say that the difference is a 7th seed won a game 7 on the road. Yeah, that I could see. That could be possible because as the Rockets were the 2nd seed in the Western Conference, and they had the home court advantage. Yeah, okay, maybe I could see that being what he was trying to say. Is that a 7th seed won a game 7 on the road in the playoffs for the first time? I could see that. I could see that being what it is. Let's see. Reggie saying Ewing, Barkley, Reggie don't have a ring. He does, and it'll be the only ring he ever gets. Facts. That's probably true. Honestly, he's not gonna get one in Clippers. That's for damn sure. Steve Ballmer, you can't buy an arena and all the players in the world and get a championship. The NBA is just not like that anymore. If you had done this maybe 15 years ago, you might have been able to do it in the 2010s, but not at this point. This league has changed, and you ain't gonna just buy stuff like the Yankees did in MLB. Dodgers are buying championships, World Series now, LA Dodgers. Well, you can't do that in the NBA. Adam Silver has made it so you can't do that. That's right. There's my WNBA fantasy team. Let's see what you guys think. What you think? Yeah, blood clot. Blood clot. Okay. All right, let's see. Stargate is saying this. Raptors Digest is back at it again with this trade incoming, and this is massive video titles. At this point, if one doesn't believe he is getting paid to gaslight, then I don't know. It's not that he's getting paid to gaslight. It's just that he's a young man who's trying to run a business. Oh, Ben, you're just running a business over there. I have a channel and I need likes. And honestly, I'm going to say this right now. Right now, Raptors content makers are dipping low to get attention right now. Nobody cares about the Raptors right now. The playoffs are in full effect. We're out. And, as bad as it was during the season when we were losing, my numbers for my views and things like that, I'm not getting a lot of new subscriptions right now. This is a hard time for Raptors creators. So Ben's got to really stoop low to get the low-hanging fruit right now to make any kind of content that gets clickbaity. So that's exactly what this is. The guy's just going all weird just to kind of get attention. And, well, he's going to do that. In some ways, that's what his priorities are on his channel, is to get clicks, to get subscriptions, to make money off his channel, and sensationalizing and making bullshit over there about Giannis to the Raptors and this and that to that. That's just his business model for his YouTube channel. So be aware of that. You guys seen any ads on my channel? No. And David and other people saying YouTube sends me an email every day saying you can put ads on your stream every day right now and charge people. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I see it 2 ways. I see it as this. First of all, yeah, sure, I can make money doing it, but I don't give a shit about that. That's not why I'm doing this. Second of all, I feel like if I bona fide myself to making money off ad revenue, YouTube's going to fuck with me in weird ways all of a sudden, like they did Chev. So in some ways, I'm weighing, should I do more economically with my YouTube channel? No, because that's going to put more attention on me from YouTube to come and say, no, you can't cuss, or you can't say this about Israel, or you can't do this or this. I don't want the attention. So I'm in this weird limbo place where I'm a big enough channel to get ad revenue on my channel, but I don't choose to because, first of all, I don't want to subjugate y'all to ad breaks every few seconds because, first of all, I hate that shit. I feel like ads are invasive and stupid as fuck, and they're annoying. If you don't want to have advertisements in your face, you shouldn't have to. And then second, The money, I don't really care about. I don't really care about making the money off of ad revenue for my channel. So I'm in this weird limbo between. YouTube every single day tries to get me to activate it, but I will not. And in some ways, I'll fly under the radar partly because of that. Because I have a feeling once I activate that, they're going to come and look at my channel way more often and try and figure out what I'm doing. And they may kind of fuck with me because of that. So, it's everybody's got their different racket on YouTube and what they're trying to do. I have a passion for the Toronto Raptors franchise to win more. And my main goal is just to help them. I don't care about getting subscriptions. I don't care about making money. I want to help Raptors Nation be the most informed NBA fan nation in this league. I want to help Masai and Bobby be able to do their jobs easier. I want to help Darko be able to do his job easier. I want to help Scott get his championships for the Raptors. And that's my only goal. It's not about clicks. It's not about subscriptions. It's not about making ad revenue off you guys. The only thing I care about is that. Now, Ben Rogers, or whatever his name is, Ben Rogers, he cares about getting subscriptions. He cares about getting ad revenue. He cares about getting y'all to click on his shit. So he's going to make clickbait. That's the difference right there. That's the difference right there. I'm going to reminisce about the success of the Toronto Raptors on 6 years ago today, on May the 5th. In 2019, Kawhi Leonard, 39 points in Wells Fargo Arena to beat the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. That's what I'm doing. He's over there making up fan fiction about picking the biggest names in the league and saying, ooh, put them on the Raptors right now. Okay, Ben Rogers, you go ahead. You go ahead. That's your thing. That's what you want to do. You go ahead. You can call it gaslighting. I call it him being an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur is what he is. Seymour saying $44 million for one season of Fred is crazy decision. What do you mean Raptors Digest needs to be flushed? Is that what he's saying? He's trying to say that $44 million for one season of Fred is a crazy decision? Why? What do you mean? He's turned that franchise around. How much can you put value on win shares and added wins to your franchise in a season? Seriously, you need to give some credit to Fred VanVleet for helping the Rockets get from the bottom of the standings. Ben Taylor or whoever's saying this crap, Ben Rogers, I don't know who it is. Whoever it is, they need to understand that Freddie has added to that franchise rising to the second seed in the West. Is that worth it, Rockets fans? Is $40 million a year for Fred VanVleet worth it to see your franchise rise up in the Western Conference standings? I think so. Isn't that the whole point of what we're doing in the NBA? So why the hell would anybody think that that is too much money for Fred? In some ways, that's not, because you needed that leader. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Seymour saying Raptors Digest needs to be flushed. Oh, man. What are you doing over there, Ben? Man, where's Riker? Riker needs to come and slap you outside the head and get your head straight back again. She's saying Boston will be a triple-double threat almost every game with their new play style. She's talking about Aaliyah Boston, right? Aaliyah. Yeah, that's good. I'm worried, in some ways that's a young player that is still learning. I've noticed that most of my team is old, including Tina Charles, who's very, very up there. And I do have a couple of young rookies, young players, not rookies, and Edwards and Boston, the two Aaliyahs. And I like having two Canadians on my team too. I've got Kia Nurse and Aaliyah Edwards, which is fantastic to have that Canadian content on my team. Really, really good. So you're saying Boston will be a triple-double threat almost every game. Yes, she had a pretty good game yesterday. I think that it was a well-rounded game. She didn't score a whole lot, but she got good assists and rebounds also on top of things. Now, our scoring system in the WNBA Fantasy League takes into account turnovers, and you get like a minus 1.5 for every turnover. You get a +2 for every steal. You get a +2 for every block, a +1 for every rebound, every point, and every assist. So check out the scoring system, and it makes sense. It makes sense. And in some ways, but realize if you have a player that gets a lot of turnovers, that can hurt you. That can hurt you in this league. That's right. He's saying that her assists will go up. Boston, as she plays more and more with her teammates. Mitchell will score a ton of points. The thing about Kelsey Mitchell is that she's a very good scorer, but she doesn't get any other stats. In some ways, she's very Gary Trent Jr. Like, she's going to shoot a lot of threes and make a lot of scores, but she will not get you assists or rebounds very much, is what I'm learning about Kelsey Mitchell. Of course, in some ways, there's worries about her output and, being overshadowed by Caitlin Clark and other players that are on the Fever. But she has her place. In some ways, she's the second leading scorer for the Fever after Caitlin. So I like that. Natasha Cloud feels betrayed, so she may go all out. Interesting. It's good, interesting information. I know Natasha Cloud is one of the best playmakers in the WNBA, always among the lead leaguers in assists. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she does. She's an older player too. And also, I'm finding it interesting some of the players that played on Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 tournament league this past offseason. Some of them are the creme de la creme of the WNBA. And I know Natasha Cloud was involved in the Unrivaled league. So yeah, I'm excited about her. I'm not as familiar with her at all. I've had Tarasi on my team and Sugg Sutton and Courtney Williams as my point guards in recent years. So I'm excited to have Natasha Cloud on the Raptor Freak All-Stars for my WNBA fantasy this year. Yeah, I love this, man. Thank you for the info here. So she's betrayed. She got traded to a different team, and she's coming with vengeance. That's what you're saying right here. Kia Nurse has a bigger role in the sky as their three-point shooter and vet. I would maybe switch out Breonna Turner. Yeah, Breonna Turner's older, and in some ways, her numbers have really dropped off in the last 2 years. I had her the first year we played the WNBA, and she was solid then. But last year, she had a really bad year. And this year, I'm kind of regretting drafting her right now. I think I drafted her partly because I had her on my team before, and it was just name recognition. And maybe I shouldn't have drafted her. This is good info, man. Gee, I really appreciate this. Yeah, Kia's interesting. Kia's been on a couple teams in a row now. Seattle 2 years ago, LA last year, and now she goes to Chicago Sky. And hopefully there's room for her to play more. I mean, I know part of it was she was hurt in the last couple years, but hopefully Kia Nurse will play way more this year and really find a good home in Chicago Sky this year. I think it's also helpful to her that it's a franchise that's not far from Toronto. Like, seriously, we got to think about this. I know WNBA, they're not really doing broadcasts for TSN as much around that time, but if she needs to be involved in like any kind of off-season kind of broadcasting, she can get to Toronto easier from Chicago than LA or Seattle. So that's good for TSN broadcast, right? Also, I want to get Kia, man, on my team, partly because I really respect and appreciate her fighting Leo in this broadcast about the tanking subject. I really appreciate her putting the player's perspective out there when Leo was talking about, oh, the Raptors need to be losing more. They're not doing this right. They're winning too much. And it's like Kia set them straight. And in some ways, I had so much respect for her counterpoint to Leo when he was doing all that tank talk on the TSN broadcast. Kia set him straight. He said, look, you were a player. Why are you forgetting this, Leo? Maybe because tanking wasn't really a thing anytime when you played way back, kid from Kiel. It's like when you have a player, you're a player, you have pride. Why are you wasting your time? Why would you want to show up and not give your best effort and play all out? You've got to understand these players are going to try to win no matter what. Tanking mentality is the worst. It's the worst. That's right. Trevor's saying, I agree with G to switch those two out. So you're saying get rid of Breonna Turner? Who's the other one you think I should get out, Trevor? Seriously, who's the other one? I know that Samuelson is kind of a bit player, and she's not as important. Then maybe I should cut her out. I know Diamond's going to be healthy this year, which should be helpful. I'm really happy Gabby Williams is on my team. I think that she's going to be really, really good for me. And let's see. Yeah. What about who's the other one that I should ask you guys about? Never mind. I'll keep going here. But yeah, Trevor, thank you for the advice. I appreciate it from you and G. Seymour saying, I blame Bradley Beal. Everyone who played next to him has failed miserably. Ice cold. Yeah, he doesn't help things, but Kevin adds his own part to the Phoenix problems. Devin Booker's life would have been way better without neither one of those two guys ever coming to his team. I'm going to say that right now. Devin Booker would be a much better, happier person and would have wasted the last couple of years of Matasheba being the owner of the Phoenix Suns if Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal never, ever put on Phoenix Suns jerseys. He would have been better off. I'm telling you right now, he would have been way, way better off in all kinds of ways. Seymour saying, if KD lands in Dallas with AD and Kyrie, look out. Man, I really want Kyrie to get the hell off Dallas, man. I really do feel like in some ways he's in a hostage situation. Like in some ways, I get it. He's under contract with them. He got in so much trouble with the NBA in the last few years. He had to go through this weird training to not be, anti-Semite training, which was totally full shit kind of crap. Yeah, I want him to escape that team. I don't feel like Kyrie Irving should have to play for the owners of the Mavericks. I feel like that's a big, huge conflict of interest. And in some ways, the situation with Kyrie Irving being on the Mavericks is just wrong. I feel like it's completely wrong. And that man should be able to walk and get the hell out of there. Seriously. If he likes playing for that team, then okay, if he wants to stay. But otherwise, man, the politics of him and the owner of the Mavs are exact opposite. And I don't know how Kyrie Irving can coexist on that team, knowing that that he earns money. He helps the franchise make money to pay for bombs to destroy the Palestinian people. Like, I don't understand how he can sleep at night being a Maverick. Seriously. If I was Kyrie Irving, I would be getting the fuck out of there as soon as possible, especially since Luka's gone now. And in some ways, Luka was part of the fun, but being there. Seriously, Kyrie, you need to get the fuck out of Dallas ASAP. Because honestly, if I was you, I wouldn't consciously be able to play my heart out and try and win, knowing that if you cause more profits for the Dallas Mavericks, you're going to kill more genocide. You're going to have more genocide in Gaza, just bombing women and children. The Mavericks winning directly, causally correlates with bombing innocent people in Gaza. It's just the damn truth. Nobody want to talk about that in mainstream media. Nobody want to talk about in any kind of place because some people are just like, oh, we got to protect Israel. We got to protect Israel. No, Israel is a genocidal war crimes country. And the things that they're doing to the Palestinian people are absolutely abhorrent and wrong. And in the history of time, hopefully it will be told this way. And everybody will see just what a piece of shit Netanyahu was and all of the people that allowed it and supported it and sent money to it. And that's why I say, Kyrie Irving, get the hell out of Dallas, man. Get the hell out of Dallas. Stargate saying Spurs just got back to back Royce and have Fox and Victor. And I believe they're eyeing Kasparis in the draft. They know what they're doing. Yeah, the fans are just being like Raptors Digest. They just see shiny toys that are coming available for the summer around the league. And they're like, ooh, how's that fit look with the Greek freak? How's that look with Kevin Durant in a Spurs jersey? You know, Popovich ain't going to be there. So in some ways, the allure of being on the Spurs is not as good as it was last year. Chris Paul wanted to play with Popovich. He got a number of games to play with Popovich, and then he was gone, sadly. Yeah, it's sad to see that change, but I'm glad Greg is doing okay health-wise, and he will still be a part of the Spurs franchise. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I think that the Spurs are like us, that they have really good pieces, and that fan nation needs to sit tight and just allow for everybody to be healthy next year and come back and see what that looks like. Seriously, Wembanyama missed half the season, and y'all didn't really see him with De'Aaron Fox very much. And y'all really may be in a good place right now. And if you overdo it, sure, get good draft picks this summer. But if you guys overdo it in free agency and you ship certain people around, it may be overcorrection. You screwed your team up. So I would say you do not want Kevin Durant. Trust me. Giannis, maybe, but let's see what that price tag is. But yeah, you Spurs fans, stop acting like this. It's silly. It's silly. You know, Raptors fans doing the same thing to an extent too. Let's see. Smooth saying Giannis would not play for the Raptors, no matter how much of Raptors Nation's simping for him. It's not happening. Simping for him. Yeah. I don't know if that's true, though. I don't know if that's true. You know, there is a couple of things that make me think you might be right. You know, he's had a lot of pain dealt to him by the Raptors franchise in the postseason. I think that Giannis, every single time he played the Raptors in the playoffs, he lost. I don't think he ever beat the Raptors, including the early years before our championship. We'd play the Bucks in the playoffs in playoff Powell, and boom, we'd beat them. So it's like Pascal talking about the history between him and Giannis after beating them in the first round with the Pacers. He's talking about that he's beaten Giannis pretty solidly every single time he's played him in the playoffs. So that may be part of it. There may be trauma like Joel Embiid has from the Raptors team. You know, Philly fans have trauma from Raptors. Bucks do also. Bucks fans will be very open and honest about, like, yeah, the Raptors, man, they've been a team that have just messed us up over the years. And like, we're so annoyed with the Raptors in some ways. And Giannis may feel that in some ways. But once again, because of his connection with Masai and the history of Masai helping Giannis come over here from Greece to this continent to get into the NBA. I mean, Ujiri was integral in that. And in some ways, like we've said, Giannis looks at Ujiri as a mentor and somebody that is special to him. So he would be the card up our sleeve that would land and at Akumpto here. But once again, this is only if Masai and Bobby think this is what they want to do. It's nothing to do with the fans. They can want this, they want that. If Bobby and Masai don't think it's worthwhile or worth doing, they won't do it. And I don't think it is. I don't think it's worth doing at this point. I really don't. I really, really don't. Trevor's saying they're saying Giannis will be on the Pistons. That's an interesting look. That's an interesting look. Once again, I want to see the package coming away from him. And that always is part of what you got to look at. The addition of him and the subtraction of who you had to give up to get him. And how would that Pistons team look after that? That may mean something like Cade or Jaden Ivey at least Jaden Ivey, if not Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren or something like that for Giannis, something like that. You got to think about what's going to even out that trade. And there's going to be good players coming from the Pistons. And in some ways, do you lose some of the great stuff that you had on your team because you did that? That's what I'm saying. Seymour's saying someone has 2 lottery picks in this draft, a top 10 picks. I'm hearing the trade the pieces for Giannis. It's going to be the Spurs, guys. The Spurs are going to have possibly 2 picks in the top 10, guys. So that's part of the reason why Spurs Nation is so much talking about Giannis sweepstakes is because they really do have some chips to trade to try and get Giannis in San Antonio uniform. So I think it's the Spurs that they end up getting somebody else's pick also. Kind of like what happened with us last year. They got 2 picks because they got our pick from the Jakob trade. Well, they did a similar thing, and they're looking like they might have 2 top 10 picks for San Antonio this year. And they may trade one of them. Who knows? Green saying Houston is 2 years away. I wouldn't trade Green just yet. Nuggets closeout game against the Clippers has me believing they are hot fire. They could steal the series. When does MVP get announced? Yeah, that's an interesting storyline for this. Kareem bringing this up. I'm going to give him a dunk, actually, for this. Is because we've got Jokic versus SGA now in this round that's starting tonight. And in some ways, this could really be a platform with what decides the last second part of the MVP race. Seriously, think about this. Those guys are going to be going head-to-head, and who's winning this series may actually very much determine who's going to win the MVP. But I think that it's SGA's to lose. He should win it this year. 78 dunks for Kareem Thomas. But yeah, it's going to be a head-to-head for the top 2 MVP candidates in this second round in the Western Conference. It'll be very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. That's right. MVP will probably be announced in the next week. Seriously, they will do it soon. Seymour saying Rick Carlisle got away from Luka a long time ago. He knows real hoops. Oh, yeah, Rick Carlisle is awesome, man. Kareem saying Cavs were missing Darius Garland. I wouldn't buy too much stock in Indy just yet. Yeah, that is a good point. But who knows? Who knows? We'll have to see. But they got the first one, and that's a good steal. They're smart, and they do things right. Who knows? Who knows? This is the best way to start it right here. Trevor's saying putting D Bonner, Lex. Put in D Bonner? You want me to go get Bonner? Let me see. I might do this right now. Let me see if they're available right now. I think DeWanna Bonner has actually already been picked up. Most of these players, there's very much the bottom of the barrel that's on the waiver wire, guys. There's not a lot of people left. Let me put a waiver wire out on. Now Bonner's on a team already, man. I'm going to try. I shouldn't say this on the air. This is exactly what Trevor said with the words of wisdom. Don't tell them what you're doing. Don't tell them. Don't tell them, Lex. Don't tell them what you're doing. All right. I think I'm going to go and put a waiver in on this player. And let me see. When are they coming back? Because part of the reason why they're coming back right away. They should be back right now. All right. Let me put a waiver wire on this person for Brianna Turner. I'm going to get Brianna Turner out of here. Because she's about to fall off, eh? You really think that she's going to fall off? Carly Samuelson and Brianna Turner need to go. So I'll put a waiver wire in for this one. See how it goes. We'll see if I get it. There may be some other waiver wire people that are in the line ahead of me that will get it. So I'm going to drop Turner. But Bonner is not available, unfortunately. That person was drafted. Let's see. Smooth saying Wolves beating the Warriors in 6. Interesting. Yeah, that's right. So it will be the Timberwolves versus the Golden State Warriors. I think Gobert is going to be a big factor. Of course, the Gobert Draymond Green history is going to be a factor in this too. That's going to be interesting. Draymond and Rudy Gobert. No headlocks, okay? No headlocks. That's right. That's right. That'll be interesting. So you want the Warriors? Yeah, I could see the Warriors losing to Minnesota. Minnesota's deep, and those scoring droughts Golden State had against Houston, they can't do that against the Wolves. Better defense. That's the thing. They're going to have better defense in some ways with the Timberwolves. Fiercely saying, love it. Gasolitis. Yeah, Embiid got very bad gasolitis, and he was actually happy when Gasol retired for sure. Yeah, so you're saying Minnesota versus Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals, Reggie. Yeah, I like it. I like it. In some ways, it's too bad that Denver and Oklahoma City aren't on opposite sides of the Western Conference playoff bracket, because it'd be cooler to see them in the Western Conference Finals in some ways than those other two teams. I have a feeling that they'll railroad the Warriors to the Western Conference Finals somehow, some way, and then they'll lose to the winner of the Nuggets Thunder. I think that that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Timberwolves, in some ways, like we just said, the defense could be a factor in helping the Warriors, but for some reason, the NBA is going to want to write that storyline for Draymond and Steph, and there will be some help. I could see there being some help. Trevor's saying Indiana Fever is a powerhouse this year with D. Bonner along with Clark. 3-point shooting is going to be nasty. There you go. I like that. I've got 3 Fever players right now, but I'm probably going to need to get rid of one of them. Fiercely saying, just saw Seymour Pape greeting. Hi, Sheriff. There you go. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew from the super fan, Monique Lawrence. Guys, we're going to do Monique's birthday on June the 7th. It's a Saturday in the afternoon. We'll be at NBA Restaurant. Y'all want to come down to the super fan Monique Lawrence's birthday party, annual birthday party. This is the next Raptor Freak hangout. Going to be coming down there. She's going to have her family and friends down there also. And we will be down there also, hopefully in a contingency of a few of us. Anybody, please mark your calendar, if anything, to come down and check out the new NBA Restaurant, because it is pretty cool, and just have some good times and hang out with me and Mo and other Raptor Freaks that are going to be coming down there. That's June the 7th. During the day at the NBA Restaurant, we'll be celebrating superfan Monique Lawrence's birthday, and also just having a good time and enjoying ourselves. That's what it's all about. That's right. Saying hi to Monique from Fiercey. I love to see that. G saying, not sure how Diamond DeShields will do this year. She has an ankle injury too. Yeah, Diamond was on and off last year. I thought she had been in the league for a while, but she's a younger player than I thought. But yeah, she's had injury problems the last 2 years. I had her on my team last year also, and she didn't totally come through for me. But we'll see. I don't know why. I think it was near the end of the draft that I ended up getting her. Was then, yeah. Most saying 7 more days till the draft lottery. There's a countdown that I like to hear. Yeah, the draft lottery will make things a little bit more known about what's going on. You see that book over my shoulder there? It says Toronto Raptors trivia book. Yeah, that's gonna be the trivia for tomorrow. Don't try and find that book online and read it. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing the trivia for the next couple weeks out of that book behind me. And yeah, it'll be fun. I'm not writing the trivia. I'm gonna literally use this woman's trivia book as the trivia for our channel tomorrow. So it's like, hey, I don't have to write the trivia. I'm gonna just use this book. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to start the Toronto Raptors trivia book trivia challenge. Don't cheat and go look at the questions already. Just let me go ahead and administer them. In fact, I'm going to hide it. I don't want y'all to see this book. Y'all don't need to see the book, so you can't find it. That's right. So he's saying, Ben Rogers, don't watch him, man. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, he's going to do what he does on his channel with all of his goofiness. You go ahead, Ben. Be your goofy fan fiction and trade rumors and all your bullshit. I can't believe how much y'all wanted James Harden on our team like 5 years ago. It was so annoying, man. That's when I kind of parted ways with Raptors Digest. Was I got sick of so many clips on James Harden to the Raptors. James Harden this, James Harden that. I'm like, y'all, give it up. We don't want James Harden. I'd be mad at y'all if we got James Harden because y'all talked about it so much. And be like, nah, man, don't get James Harden. And I've been right this whole time. Don't get James Harden, but that's what they'll do. Is as soon as there's some big name that's out in the free agency or the rumor mill trade market, they'll just start touting them and looking at them on the Raptors. And how does that look? So yeah, just stop. Just stop, Ben. Please, just stop. That's right. I left a long time ago when you made all that content on James Harden coming here. I was like, yeah, I can't watch this anymore. You're talking about James Harden on the Raptors way too much. It's not realistic, and I hate it. I hate the idea of it right there. That's right. Kaloy's here. Good morning to Carlo JS. Good morning to Santino. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. I get a feeling that Milwaukee, Phoenix, and other teams will want the Thompson twins for any trades for their stars. Well, that's just kind of random, just an assortment of different teams and this kind of thing. I don't know. These guys are young. They're on their rookie contracts. The value for Detroit and Houston's off the charts. So they ain't going nowhere. They're valuable. and they're going to hold on to them. People can come talk to them about wanting them, but I don't see it. I don't see this. Good morning to Trucker Kaz. I hope Kaz is happy with his team for his WNBA. Yeah, let's see. You want the classic card and the Instagram stories? All right, let's do this in order. We'll do the Instagram stories next. Let me just look real quick and see what's on here. Yeah, we'll start with Leo Routen's life words of wisdom. He has ones from yesterday I didn't read, and then we'll do the ones for today. He's saying, first, life can change in a moment, so we must appreciate every single day we are given before fascism takes over. That's what I would say about that. I mean, Trump is making all these changes to the rules down south to get his police force ready to use it on the Americans, use it on the people who actually live in their country. They're going to figure out ways to like get rid of people that don't agree with them. That's fascism. They're going to get rid of the free press. They're taking lawyers to court for trying to challenge them. That's fascism. Every single thing about Donald Trump in the White House right now is fascism. So in some ways, like Leo's saying, we should appreciate what we have right now because things could go down the tubes real quick with a dystopian bullshit, crazy ass Nazi wannabe fascist state the United States turned into right now. We all need to continue to fight it in the ways we can. Resistance is absolutely necessary. Let's just put it that way. Leo's saying this. Also, faith and fear both demand you believe in something you cannot see. You choose. Well, I'm going to have faith that the powers of good will overcome the evil that is emanating in right-wing politics around the world right now. And a good example of that is Australia. Great to see the country of Australia stands against Trump bullshit and right-wing extremist fascist mentalities. And they elected the Labour Party candidate in their election this weekend. Good job, Australia. You did the same thing that we did here in Canada, rejecting a piece of shit like Pierre Poilievre. And in fact, getting to the point where we rejected that person so bad, they lost their seat. They're riding. And the same thing happened to the Australian guy who was the version of Pierre Poilievre and Donald Trump in Australia. He lost his seat too. So people are pro-democracy. They're not about this fascist shit and this flavor of right-wing politics that's trying to take over the whole entire world. Realize it is the right-wing politicians that are evil and fucked up in this world. And they've come out of into the light, and we can see them exactly for who they are. If you stand with them, you are with them. You are just as evil and Nazi and fascist as they are. And that is your damn choice. And we're all going to remember it. We're going to remember it going forward. Who stood with them? Wayne Gretzky, you dumbass piece of shit. That's what I want to say right there. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Eugenio Moroy is on the plane coming back from Nigeria. And he's just like, he's living that life, man. He's on that private jet. There you go, Eugene, coming back from Lagos. Eugene's off the chain, man. I love that guy. He's a true cool dude, man. Let's see. Teresa Resch is putting on blast the Nike basketball Aja Wilson ad where the young girl is doing the sing song about Aja, and she's got Aja's name in her hair. Very, very cool. WNBA season's heating up. Preseason going on right now. And we're going to be in the regular season very soon. And Toronto Temple will be here sooner than you think next year. Yeah, I found out recently that Kia Nurse's cousin, Sarah Nurse, plays for the Toronto Raptors in the Professional Women's Hockey League. And, well, they got their matchup starting in the first round of the playoffs against Minnesota on the 7th. It'll be Toronto Raptors versus Minnesota PWHL playoffs. First time ever. Sarah Nurse is Kia Nurse's cousin, and she plays for the Raptors, guys, just so you know. Another thing I just found out that I did not know is Kia Nurse, her uncle is Donovan McNabb. Did y'all know this, man? Like, she has a woman in her family that married Donovan McNabb. So, yeah, she's related to the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Donovan McNabb. He's actually her uncle, just so y'all know. Didn't know that. Let's see. What else is going on the chats and stuff? It's like my friend Thuzy went to the Harlem Globetrotters and they were dancing. That's pretty cool. I like that. Jamal Shed's always putting on blast his friends. His boys are growing up. Jamal's got so many friends and family. He's always putting everybody on blast in different places. Calvin Sampson on his Instagram, also with Ramon Walker Jr. So his Houston love is there. Let's see. Lloyd is posting God, Romans 8:18. So go look up that scripture. Let's see. Toronto Tempo, May 24th to 25th. Toronto Tempo live at Stacked. Some sort of event. The Toronto Tempo is going to be celebrate the year to the tip-off. So they're going to have a party at Stacked in Toronto for the Toronto Tempo on May 24th to 25th. And it's going to be celebrating 1 year away from the tip-off of the Toronto Tempo a year from now. So there you go. It's become more real. Toronto Tempo will be playing at the end of the month a year from now. That's fantastic. I love that. We're getting there. Brandon Ingram's got some weird cast of characters on his Instagram. I don't know who these people are. Complex style, respect to the law. Complex style, respect to the law. I don't even see Brandon in this picture. So who are these people, man? Who's complex style? What's going on there? What's going on there? Lindsey Dunn went down to a go-kart track and was riding go-karts yesterday. That's what's going on with her. Grady Dick. All right, interesting stuff with Grady. First of all, Grady put his girlfriend on blast yesterday. Like really put her on blast yesterday. More than ever. Like he really made it like seem very official, like they're going to a new level or something like that. What's her name again? Carla Lessing is Grady's girlfriend. It's been his girlfriend for a couple years now. She's a Kansas Jayhawk alumni, went to the school like him. And man, I guess they're getting to a new level because he's putting her on blast publicly. Maybe there's been too much thirsting for Grady by Raptors fan nation. And Grady's like, no, I'm sorry, but I can't be with you. I'm with Carla. And I want to make it all very public and known that this is the woman I love. And y'all stop sending me DMs, kind of jumping in these DMs and telling Grady, I would love you. If you were with me, I would cook you dinner every night. Oh, do this and do that. I'm sorry. I'm with Carla Lessing. Leave me a fuck alone. I can only guess. This is why this happens. I always like to think about why. Okay, Oshai got put Avery on blast because people coming after Avery. I mean, coming after Oshai because Oshai looks like a black Magnum PI. They were like, Oshai's so cute. It was like, no, get away from me. I have a fiance and I have a cat that I love too. And I just don't want to talk to you. Okay. Stop bugging Grady. Okay. Grady doesn't want to talk to you either. He knows a woman named Carla and that's his girlfriend. And he's got cats too. Okay. So y'all leave these men alone that got cats and ladies. Stop bothering these Kansas Jayhawks. And they won't put their love on blast so y'all can see it. And you leave them alone. That's what he's trying to tell y'all. And they're saying congratulations to Coach Roberts of Kansas University there. Nat Bhatia is showing a tribute to Fred VanVleet in his defeat in Game 7. He said, you already know. So the love for Fred is still there from Nav. And also, he's showing him embracing Greg Popovich with the news of his retirement this weekend. Everybody's doing tributes to Greg, and Nabati is one of them also. There you go. There's your Instagram stories for today. Grady Dick loves his girlfriend, okay, y'all? Grady Dick loves his girlfriend. Leave him alone. Leave him the hell alone. That's right. Leave Grady Dick alone. He loves his girlfriend. Let him have his girlfriend. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne's on time today. All right, Wayne, you got here on time. Not right at the end. Thank God. Morning, Raptor Freaks. To say Pacers win is because Garland was absent is akin to naysayers discounting our championship due to the absence of Durant and Thompson. Teams when they're locked in to win. I like this counterpoint, and I agree with it. It's, you know what? We can't, people are going to be flaky. People are going to get hurt. The team that is the best team can withstand those kind of things that happen, detriments. And that's what we got to say is like the deeper team that has the ability to get around these kind of absences is the best. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, the Cavs would have done better if Garland had been there, but that may not have been true. Garland could have came out there and shot really horrible, and Sam Merrill was the better player to be starting at that time. So I'm going to agree with Wayne. It's in some ways we can't just make this arithmetic that says the absence of Garland is why the Indiana Pacers won last night. You can't do that. You can't do that. This is a team collective thing. And well, Garland ain't been there for a couple of games. He wasn't there for the Miami games either. And they kicked the Miami Heat's ass anyway. So, I mean, that's the point right there. Trevor's saying Ben needs a girlfriend. He has too much time joking off. That's why he talks so much shit. Did you say joking off? I mean, what do you mean there? I mean, all right, listen, you're probably right. Ben probably does need a girlfriend. Maybe he does have a girlfriend. Maybe he's fine. I don't know. There was that weird time where Ben went through maturity and like he did that Peter Brady for a while on his channel. It's like, because when he started the channel, he was a little kid and he's like, hey guys, I'm going to talk about the Raptors. And then at a certain point, he started going, his voice changed like Peter Brady on the Brady Bunch. He was going through adolescence. He was maturing into a man and he was getting the vocal cords and stuff like that. That was a weird time when Raptors Digest was going through, voice changes. You know, Ozzy Osbourne, I'm going through changes. You know, he's like, he was going through changes with his voice. It's uncomfortable at times. You know how it is sometimes when people's voices are going all up and down because they're getting a deeper voice all of a sudden because they're a teenager. We went through that ride with you, Raptors Digest. We remember this. We saw it. Anyway, all right, let me keep going. Most give me the cutoff. W Stream, W Vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free Crew, strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments, and I appreciate you so much for it, Mo. You are so awesome. I love you so much. Wayne saying Warriors win by the bench. Veterans having a great night, which we can bet ain't happening again this season. That means Warriors need another Warrior to step up in the future. They are out next series. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like we said, Timberwolves' defensive length is going to be a big factor in this series. Jaden McDaniels, he is a huge long player. Naz Reid, Nickel. They've got some really good long arm players in defensive ways around their team that can really stymie and mess with the Warriors. And in some ways, the Warriors just don't have the size. This could be the big difference in this one. Sengun is a different kind of center. He's not really a physical kind of center. He's a finesse passing center. Steven Adams is not an offensive player, but he can be a big, imposing person. But Gobert, if Gobert does something like what he did in one of those last games in the first round, a 2020 game, yeah, the Warriors are cooked. And in some ways, the mind games of Draymond Green playing with Gobert is going to be very important. And I will totally expect Draymond to ratchet that shit up. Because he's going to understand going into this series with Jimmy that they need to get in Gobert's head to try and mess him up, because he may be the most important player in this series is Rudy Gobert. So it's going to be a mental game, partly Draymond trying to get in Rudy's head, and Rudy has to be smart. He has to be smart and not fall for it and just play your game, your style. Rudy Gobert, I want to see. I might get more respect for you if you can handle the bullshit that Draymond Green's about to throw at you in the next round. We'll have to see. Kareem saying, pissed I drafted a player who got blackballed out of the league. I don't know if she got blackballed out of the league. I think she just took a different opportunity with a different league, and that's Mexico. And is there any chance Kennedy Carter comes back to the WNBA? I don't think so. Once again, I would drop that player and get a new player ASAP, because usually if the player's not on line to be in the league for the season, that does not mean they're going to come and play. We got to remember this, Kareem. The WNBA season's a lot shorter than the NBA regular season. And in some ways, you can't, if you miss like half the season, you're missing over 20 games. You only get like 10 or 12 games after that, right? It's not that much more. So I would not say it's worth it. There's players that just retired, like Della Donna, Taurasi. They're on the waiver wire list, but you should not touch them. And in some ways, Carter is gone to Mexico. And in some ways, that Mexican season, she's got a contract to play for them. And when that contract's up, who knows when it's up and whether she could come back and play later in the season. You could do this, Kareem. You could put her on your DL. You might be able to stash her on your DL and get the extra player. See if she's eligible to be on the DL. But she might not be, because free agents may not be the same as being injured. So I don't know. You have to try that. You could at least try that. If you really want to stash her, go ahead and try and put her on your IR. And if it doesn't let you, you need to cut her immediately. Immediately cut her then. Immediately cut her right then. Yeah. Let's see. Blackhawks saying Warriors win by their starters is unsustainable, but congratulations anyway. Yeah, nothing on that bench. It's crazy, man. It's similar to like this game the Raptors won that we're remembering today. 6 years ago, on May the 5th, the Raptors beat the Sixers in Philadelphia in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, and Serge Ibaka got all the bench points. Nobody else scored any points off the bench. It was like 12 points by Serge, and nobody else scored off the bench. And it was the starters carrying the Raptors, specifically Kawhi Leonard and Marc Gasol, that helped us win this game, because Pascal had a bad game, and Fred got 0. Norman got 0, and the Raptors still won Game 4 in the Monday memory we're remembering today. It's crazy. So it's a similar kind of thing. Starters absolutely carried in the Warriors game last night too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Trevor's saying ESPN says, hang on, why'd that go back so fast? ESPN says that Rockets should go all out to get Kevin Durant. I don't think anybody should go all out to get Kevin Durant. Seriously, in some ways, I would be so hesitant. In today's salary cap environment, he could really drag your team down in an unnecessary way. I'm more worried about him hurting the team than helping. And somebody's going to pay all that money to him, and he will hurt your team and block you from winning. Seriously, I really see that as the way he is at this point. Up here, he's messed up. I don't know if he's as good physically to play athletically because he's older. And up here, he's totally screwed because he's jaded. He's rather get on Twitter and argue with fans. And in some ways, his mindset is not right. to play in the NBA at this point. I get that feeling since he was being coached by Steve Nash in Brooklyn. That he just stopped being a good team player in certain ways. There's just weird energy around Kevin. And in some ways that it's followed him from Brooklyn to Phoenix, and it will follow him to the next place too. Watch. It will. Stargate saying exactly, Wayne. Garland has been out for a while and they were still winning. Pacers picked them apart methodically. That's the thing that y'all were saying last night watching the game is the Pacers went into a different mode defensively. They really showed a defensive side of themselves that they said at times this year that they had. I heard Rick Carlisle say this when we played them one time this year, that his defense has been improving all year on the Pacers, and he's proud of that. And that is an underlying thing that is totally important for that team. We know the Pacers can score the hell out of the ball. They can get 150 points in a game like it's nothing. But can they stop teams? And that's what they had to do against Cleveland last night to get game one, is they had to stop the Cavaliers to an extent, and they did. And that's impressive. That's very, very impressive. Very, very, very impressive. Let's see. Fiercely saying, nope, Kareem, she's a problem. A baller, but a problem. She's a baller. She's a problem. She's a problem. So Kennedy's a problem? I don't know. I don't know enough about her in some ways. I wonder how she's doing. She's not a problem like Kennedy Chandler, is she? Kennedy Carter? Is it a problem like Kennedy Chandler? What is it with these Kennedys and Kennedys? There's some problem with these guys. Kennedy Chandler, he hurt Aldrich Shamshay, and Kennedy Carter is playing in Mexico. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. Kareem saying Carter should play in the PWHL with that solid check on Caitlin Clark. Being blackballed for that is crazy. Is it because of Caitlin, or is it just foregone policy? Oh, I didn't even know this part. See, once again, I really don't know enough about the WNBA. I have to learn. So you're saying that Carter has been blackballed from the WNBA because she hit Caitlin Clark, the golden girl of the league, in a game last year, and now all of a sudden she's found her on the outside of the league? That's interesting. That's interesting stuff right there. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the WNBA in some ways to be like that. Yeah. Smooth saying, of course, ESPN would say that. Of course, they would say, yeah, they should get Kevin Durant on the Rockets. Of course, they will. Stargate saying, ESPN is still talking about LeBron and the Lakers. Why would you take anything that they say seriously? Heck, why even bring them up at this point for anything? Yeah, I can get behind that. You know, these teams that they're amassing for the new media contracts with the NBC and Amazon are very promising. They seem to have a lot of good analysts and people that are actually going to talk basketball instead of tabloid shit like Stephen A. Smith and ESPN does. So hopefully there'll be better NBA content overall, because the media partners with the NBA are going to be treating it better. Because honestly, ABC, Disney, ESPN has been absolutely horrible. They've covered the NBA the worst in the whole entire history of the NBA. Out of all the different networks and different places, y'all have been the worst. In fact, you're part of the reason why the NBA product has been dragged down. Y'all made it worse. You made it tabloid. You made it cheap. You made it just stupid and fluff. And it's your fault, ESPN, honestly. You know, NBC, TNT have always done a certain level of respect and quality to what they've done when they covered the NBA. CBS in the 80s too. But ABC, y'all have sucked so bad. You've been one of the worst broadcasters of the NBA. I would say the worst ever. And the whole entire history of the NBA was ABC, ESPN's partnership with the NBA has been absolute failure. And y'all suck. Y'all made the product worse. You made that product go down in value, being a part of it. We'll see how Amazon is. They're going to be a whole new kind of entity, and they have a pretty good crew of people they're bringing in from what the announcements are. And NBC is going to be nostalgic. They're going to be able to do a lot of cool things with NBC showing the NBA again. But yeah, I just wanted to improve and to get rid of this tabloid hack bullshit that ESPN has been doing for like the last 15 years. It's absolute crap. Absolute crap. You guys are a big part of the reason why the NBA product has sucked in the last couple of years and over time, because you guys treated it like it was a piece of crap the way you covered it. That's right. That's right. Kareem's saying, my bad, thought she was blackballed. Yeah, I don't know if she's blackballed, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's weird that she's not in the league right now, right? Right. Smooth saying it's all marketing and cross promotion now. I can't watch it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the cross promotion if it's fun and it's kind of ingenious, the fun stuff. Like if Shaq wants to do an ad for a movie or something like that, that could be funny.
But the problem is it's shamelessly just pushing LeBron and the Lakers over and over again when they're really not even that valid to talk about. They're going to find a way to shoehorn them in somehow, some way. That's what Stargate's original point is. Wayne saying a Hartenstein matchup against Joker is going to be a key matchup. Outside shooting in the NBA is a game-winning skill. Aaron Gordon, Jokic, Hartenstein, and that other tall guy in OKC are good defenders. Holmgren. Yeah, this is not a good matchup for the Nuggets. In fact, I think the Thunder are going to rout them and beat their ass pretty bad because, once again, the Thunder are a deeper team. The Nuggets were lucky in some ways in that first round. They really were. You know, in some ways, the Clippers clippered themselves, James Harden specifically, out of the league, out of the playoffs, I should say. And I don't know if the Nuggets have the juice to try and take on the best team in the league now in this next round. We'll see the first game tonight, and I fully expect the Thunder to blow them out by 20 tonight. I really do. I fully expect them to blow them out by 20 tonight. Not even mess around. Set a message, and it could very well be part of it is I'm the MVP of this league as part of the message tonight. I could see it. Trevor's saying WNBA teams will be top of their game. Indiana Fever, Chicago Sky, and the Wings will give Liberty and Las Vegas Aces a run for the title. That's good because we want parity in that league. I worry, with Jewel Lloyd going to the Las Vegas Aces, that it's like, once again, this is a juggernaut in this league. The Aces just seem like they just run roughshod over everybody since they've existed, honestly. They did lose last year and Liberty won the championship last year, but still, it's like the Vegas Aces in some ways are dangerous to the league and hurting it because they're just too dominant. In some ways, they need the Las Vegas Aces to not win so much, honestly, because it's boring to the league. In some ways, they could have the same effect on the WNBA, just like the Golden State Warriors did during the mid-2010s. It's just boring to see the Cavs versus the Warriors every year in the finals. It would be the same damn thing if it's the Aces versus the Liberty every single year in the finals. It'll be boring. So they do need these other teams to step up and play well. All right, I got 4 minutes till 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up things quickly here. Nuggets have no bench. OKC has a bench. That's right. That's going to be the big difference right there, Stargate. That's going to be the big difference right there. Kareem saying Mobley and Allen were fucking mid. They are only good when on the court together, which creates a huge disadvantage individually when they're not much of a threat. I mean, they both prop each other up. That's why I did not agree with Evan Mobley winning the Defensive Player of the Year. If you're going to go ahead and give him a Defensive Player of the Year, you better put a little postscript that says Jared Allen is his teammate. He plays next to him. That's what I say about that. All right, let me get this card box, the classic card box, and let's see what we got for today. Let me see if I can get a good classic card box. No shit. I don't know how I do this, guys, but I do this. I don't know how I do this. All right, I'm not going to show it very close. Who is that? Look at it from there and see if you can just tell me who it is. Seriously. Full name answer. You can see it from there. Who you think it is who it is. And it's the person, like, it's one of these weird things. It's like Oliver Miller dies the day we have the classic card. Yeah, it's not Dwight Howard. It's Kawhi Leonard. It's like DZ can tell that's Kawhi Leonard from far away. That is a Kawhi Leonard card. Look at that. It's actually kind of a nice card. That's so weird, man. I did not pull this on purpose. He's the picture on my cover front cover too. Didn't this happen earlier where Kawhi was like the card too before? I don't know. We've been having these weird like coincidences sometimes here. It's like DZ, you get the classic card. It was from distance, so I'm gonna give you 100. I would normally not give you Kawhi Leonard for 100, but because you did it from a distance, you're gonna get the extra 50. When did we have Kawhi before? We had him just like a couple weeks ago too, and Slug got him then too. I wonder if it was the same card. I like this card. I want to keep it. I want to keep this card. Of course, when we come to Monique's birthday party, I'll have all the classic cards down there so people can come and get the classic cards as they want. So yeah, remember, that's one of the great fun things about the Raptor Freak Hangout is I bring all these cards that I show on the show, and you guys can take them for free. I'll give them to people. I don't care. That's part of the fun. That's right. You thought it was Orlando's shirt that he was wearing here? Yeah, it's a little bit in red, though. In some ways, that kind of gives away that it's a red color as part of their motif there. Who's in the back there? It's Stanley. They got Stanley Johnson on him in the Raptors OVO jersey. Kind of cool. Stanimal. And that's a picture in the Air Canada Center because you can see the Air Canada Center emblem in the back. That's weird. We weren't Scotiabank yet. That's a weird time, man. I thought we were Scotiabank Arena already. Why is Air Canada Center add on there? That's weird, man. All right, let me do the wrap up real quick. Let's see. Raptors Reddit. What are y'all saying this morning? Apparently, Sacramento King Jake LaRavia went to the CN Tower yesterday. And he proposed to his girlfriend. I don't understand this. This is weird, man. Center for the Kings came and has asked a woman to marry him at the foot of the CN Tower in Toronto. So I guess that's a romantic place to ask somebody to get married at. So Sacramento Kings Jake LaRavia just got engaged at the CN Tower yesterday, apparently. That's what they're saying there. Let's see. Raptors fans are different in the best possible way. I'll agree with that. Being an example of that. The annual Kawhi should have played in Toronto. Yeah, we saw that yesterday. I'm not worried about blue skies. Let's see. What else do we have? There's a birthday today, guys. It's a birthday that I don't really care about, but we'll say it and we'll highlight it anyway. Happy birthday, PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is 40 years old today. So he's going to be playing tonight for the Knicks. Maybe not playing. He won't be playing. He'll be on the bench because Thibodeau runs a short rotation. But PJ Tucker is going to be sitting on the bench on his birthday against the Celtics tonight. Knicks versus Celtics, game 1. And he's going to be 40. He's 40 years old today. So PJ Tucker's 40 years old today. And he's under a multiple-year contract with New York. This is crazy, man. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. But PJ, happy birthday, man. Happy 40th birthday, PJ Tucker. Bleh, bleh. All right, let me do the wrap up and let me go. Let me get out of here, guys. Once again, we're remembering a classic game in the Raptors history. 6 years ago today, the Toronto Raptors went to Wells Fargo Arena and evened up the series against the Sixers in their championship run, made it 2-2, and game 5 was back in Toronto. And of course, they won that game after that, lost game 6, and then won game 7 in an epic fashion with Kawhi Leonard hitting a big, huge bounce shot to win it right at the last buzzer, which was awesome. But many people forget the game 4 of this series was absolutely integral to the Raptors winning the championship because they lose this game. They're down 3-1 to Embiid and the Sixers, and they probably lose to the Sixers in this. So Kawhi taking over, getting 39 points in Philadelphia in this game, being the most dominant player was absolutely essential. There was playoff Kawhi mode, definitely. Marc Gasol offensively played really well. Kyle Lowry was pretty good, and Serge Ibaka. And meanwhile, Pascal, Fred, and Norman didn't do anything in this game. So thank you, Kawhi Leonard, for your excellence and how you played for the Raptors 6 years ago on this day on a Cinco de Mayo in 2019. This is a hugely important game in the championship run. And a lot of people forget about it because of the Kawhi shot. So let's celebrate the game 4 victory the Raptors had in Philadelphia, wearing their earned not given red and white jerseys. I love those jerseys so much. They're so awesome. And watch the highlights of this game. It's actually pretty fun to watch. And you see just how badass Kawhi is. He's so good at this point 6 years ago today. It really was. All right. Once again, the referees tonight, Mark Davis favors the Knicks. Ben Taylor and JB DeRosa favor the Celtics. John Goebel favors the Nuggets. And Josh Tiven and Carl Lane favor the Thunder. So that's your ref report right there real quick. Congratulations to the Warriors getting past the Rockets in game 7 and moving on. And congratulations to Pascal and the Pacers winning game 1 against Cleveland. That was awesome, man. All right, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. We'll do Tuesday trivia tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. So come on in, bring your trivia head so you can answer the questions and try and get some trivia points. The trivia season goes on until the Larry O'Brien is won by an NBA team. So we're on the stretch run. And, right now it's Smooth Brown Mans to win. He's got a really good lead, but Slug Deezy has been catching up to a degree and trying to catch up. So y'all come in for the trivia tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Thank you for watching the Raptor Freak stream. I appreciate everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel. Remember, the Raptors were champions in 2019. Only 20 of the 30 NBA teams have championships. 10 of the teams do never won a championship ever, and the Raptors have a championship. So we got to say that. That's right. Wayne's saying Draymond Green is the most influential player in the NBA. I don't know if that's true. He's maybe the most influential player in the NBA to WWE. Maybe I would say that. All right, let's go Raptors. And yeah, Norman, stop dissing your championship with the Raptors, man. What is wrong with you, bro? Seriously, you're crazy if you thought your Clippers team was better than the Raptors team. You are absolutely batshit crazy for thinking that. All right, let's go Raptors. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors.